Chapter 1587. Rumble. A mysterious thunderbolt exploded and enveloped the entire Qianhua Palace. The vast power of heaven and earth contained the terrifying power of nirvana. Ling Xiao could feel that the Qianhua Palace was enveloped by the power of nirvana. The power of nirvana was extremely mysterious. It did not affect the various items in the Thousand Moon Palace, but it had a destructive effect on living beings. If the sky-shrouding talisman failed at this moment, and Ling Xiao was exposed to the Thousand Moon Palace, he would probably be instantly killed by the power of nirvana. Ling Xiao felt a little insecure and secretly operated the sky-shrouding talisman. Only then did he feel a little relieved. This was nirvana tribulation, not an ordinary divine king tribulation. If he was not careful, Ling Xiao would probably die without a burial place. Ling Xiao could see that Cheng Ying's physical body, primordial spirit, and everything else had turned into the tiniest particles. They floated in the Thousand Moon Palace like a dazzling rain of light. It was as if her entire person had disappeared. And those tiny particles seemed to contain Cheng Ying's primordial spirit and life imprint. They were entangled with the power of nirvana, and were slowly absorbing the power of nirvana. It really is tribulation chi. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He could feel that every nirvana tribulation chi contained a tribulation chi. And with the vast nirvana tribulation chi in the Thousand Moon Palace, how many thousands of tribulation chi would there be? Although Ling Xiao was envious, he did not make a move. These were Cheng Ying's opportunities and opportunities. If he made a move now, he would destroy Cheng Ying's opportunity to become a saint. Rumble. Ling Xiao was able to see that every single particle contained the most original Tao insight. Yet they were also like tiny worlds. When the nirvana energy entered them, it was as if the heavens and the earth were being split apart, causing those tiny worlds to continuously evolve. Some of the particles could not withstand the power of nirvana and shattered, then turned into nothingness. But even more particles seemed to have absorbed a vast amount of energy, and began to grow and even differentiate. The entanglement of life and death. The extreme of life is death, and the extreme of death is life. Is this nirvana? Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of understanding. Observing Cheng Ying's nirvana had benefited him a lot. Although Ling Xiao had consumed the Zhou Tian nirvana pill previously, and experienced the process of nirvana, how could the power of the pill compare to the might of nirvana? Ling Xiao didn't know how much time had passed, but in the end, the particles seemed to have completed their transformation. There was an incomparably mysterious attraction between them, and they gathered together. Vaguely, they seemed to be condensing into a human figure. However, Ling Xiao could feel that more and more nirvana force was gathering. It was as if it wanted to completely annihilate those particles and return them to the world. Not good. Ling Xiao's eyes widened. He could sense that Cheng Ying was not in a good state at the moment. Her true spirit seemed to be unable to withstand such a majestic nirvana force. Once it was scattered again, it would not just be a simple matter of wasting all her previous efforts. Her soul would probably be destroyed and not even her bones would be left. The 9 revolutions nirvana tribulation was incomparably dangerous. If one succeeded, one would live. If one failed, one would die. There was no second path. Therefore, countless semi-sage experts were incomparably cautious when crossing the nirvana tribulation. Now Cheng Ying had encountered a crisis, which was also her calamity. Ling Xiao didn't even think about it and attacked instantly. Boom. Streaks of chaotic light pervaded his body. He looked like a chaotic fiend god that had walked out of the chaos. He stretched out his hand and a chaotic vortex spread out in his palm. He had used the cultivation method of the indestructible saint technique to absorb the mysterious tribulation chi from the nirvana force into his body. Strands of tribulation chi entered Ling Xiao's body like sharp blades, bringing him excruciating pain. However, Ling Xiao had already experienced it several times before, so he did not even frown from the excruciating pain. Streaks of tribulation chi were extracted by Ling Xiao. He could sense that the mysterious nirvana force seemed to have turned into the purest vitality. Then it began to fly toward those particles. Dazzling light shone in the void, and Cheng Ying's body slowly began to condense. Rumble. At this moment, an unforeseen event occurred. Although Ling Xiao's aura was concealed by the heaven-shrouding secret technique, and the vast will of heaven and earth couldn't discover him. His act of extracting tribulation chi seemed to have angered the will of heaven and earth. Suddenly, the majestic tribulation chi broke down from the nirvana force and began to surge wildly into Ling Xiao's body. Tribulation chi was a double-edged sword. Previously, Ling Xiao had used tribulation chi to refine his body. Therefore, he was incomparably careful. Now that the vast tribulation chi was surging in, Ling Xiao was immediately in great danger. Damn heaven, you're playing with me. Ling Xiao smiled bitterly and shouted gloomily in his heart. How could he not see it? The will of heaven and earth wanted to make him explode with tribulation chi. It didn't matter if he used the heaven-shrouding secret technique to conceal his aura. If an ordinary person dared to absorb so much tribulation chi, it was no different from courting death. However, the more dangerous the situation was, the calmer Ling Xiao was. He activated the indestructible sacred technique to the extreme and forcibly absorbed the tribulation chi into his body. It merged into every inch of his flesh, meridians, and bones. His body instantly became riddled with holes, as if he had been pierced by thousands of swords. The tribulation chi that rushed into his body in an instant made him feel as if his entire body was about to shatter. However, with Ling Xiao madly absorbing the tribulation chi, Chungying passed through the nirvana tribulation without any mishap. Dazzling light burst out from her body. Her physical body, primordial spirit, small world, and godhead were reformed. There was also an additional sixth rune on her godhead. Seeing that Chungying had formed her physical body without any mishap, Ling Xiao finally heaved a sigh of relief. Without hesitation, he connected to his heart realm and entered the Great Void Shrine. In just a short while, Ling Xiao's body had already absorbed 3,000 tribulation chi. Although he was envious of the tribulation chi, Ling Xiao knew that if he held on for a little longer, his entire body would explode from the tribulation chi. Although his physical body was strong, there was no way he could withstand the power of the tribulation chi. After entering the Great Void Shrine, Ling Xiao immediately sped up time by 30 times in the Flowing Time Shrine, and began to cultivate in seclusion to refine the tribulation chi in his body. Ling Xiao seemed to have gone through a process of destruction and reconstruction. His body was continuously torn apart by the chi of calamity, and then healed. In the end, all 3,000 streams of chi of calamity were refined by Ling Xiao, and one of his arms was completely refined. Ling Xiao's arm now looked as translucent as jade and emitted a faint purple light. It was filled with explosive power. Ling Xiao even felt that he could tear the void apart with a single punch. Chapter 1588. I've used up 5,000 strands of tribulation aura to refine this arm. I still have a long way to go before I can refine the tribulation seed. Ling Xiao smiled bitterly. He had helped many disciples of Battle Hall to pass their Divine King tribulations. In addition to the tribulation aura that Lu Wenjing had found for him, and the 3,000 strands of tribulation aura that he had devoured from Chungying's nirvana tribulation, Ling Xiao had used up 5,000 strands of tribulation aura. However, he had only managed to refine one arm. He had thought that 10,000 strands of tribulation aura would be enough to refine the tribulation seed. However, it seemed that 10,000 strands of tribulation aura could only refine 2 arms. Since Ling Xiao had cultivated the tribulation's indestructible sacred technique, he naturally wanted to complete it and embark on the divine path. In particular, the chaotic figure that Ling Xiao saw in the painting was like a celestial emperor. It was immortal and indestructible, and it dominated the universe. It left a deep impression on Ling Xiao. I wonder how much power I can unleash with this arm of mine. Perhaps I can test it out with Senior Sister Chung. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he smiled faintly. Swoosh. When he came out of the Great Void Temple and returned to the Thousand Moon Palace, only a few days had passed. Chungying had completely passed the Nirvana tribulation and was sitting cross-legged in the Thousand Moon Palace to stabilize her cultivation. Chungying's aura was extremely powerful and filled with holy light. She had reached the 6th level of the half-saint realm. She only needed one more step to become an advanced half-saint. An advanced half-saint could become an elder or a deputy hall master in the War God Hall. Moreover, she would be promoted to the Holy Son of the War God Hall, and have the opportunity to compete for the position of war god in the future. Currently, the war god hall only had 3 holy sons. Chungying was only one step away from becoming a holy son. Not long after, Chungying woke up. A dazzling divine light shot out from her eyes, causing the void to ripple. Congratulations, senior sister Chung. You've broken through to the 6th revolution half-saint realm. Ling Xiao said with a smile. It's all thanks to junior brother Long's help. However, it seems like junior brother Long has also obtained quite a bit of tribulation aura this time. Chungying smiled faintly. When she was undergoing the nirvana tribulation earlier, she was naturally able to sense the danger within. If Ling Xiao had not intervened at the last moment, she might have really failed at the last moment. Chungying's gaze landed on Ling Xiao's arm. She could feel that there was an incomparably terrifying energy rippling from Ling Xiao's arm. Junior brother Long, did you condense a Qilin arm? Legend has it that a pure-blooded Qilin's arm can capture the stars and the moon, and destroy the heavens and earth. I think junior brother Long is also incomparably powerful after being condensed by tribulation Qi. Chungying exclaimed. His eyes were filled with emotion. One must know that there were very few body-refining martial artists in the divine world. Apart from the fact that it was extremely difficult to improve one's physical body, and required all kinds of heavenly treasures, the most important thing was that after a martial artist had broken through to the semi-sage realm, his physical body would be greatly improved every time he crossed a nirvana tribulation. A divine king expert wouldn't be able to break through the defense of a 9th cycle nirvana tribulation half-sage, even if they used all their strength. However, Chungying realized that Ling Xiao's arm, which had been tempered by the tribulation Qi, contained so much power that even she was shocked. Qilin arm? Haha. Senior sister Chung, you must be joking. However, I don't know how strong my arm has become after being tempered by the tribulation Qi. Why don't I ask senior sister Chung to give me some pointers? Ling Xiao chuckled. His eyes were filled with eagerness. No problem. However, junior brother Long, your combat strength is very strong. Even Wu Chen was defeated by you in 3 punches. I will suppress my cultivation to the same level as you. How about this? I will use the strength of a 1st cycle half-sage. Let's see how many moves you can take from me. Chungying laughed very straightforwardly. She was also very curious about Ling Xiao's Qilin arm. 1st cycle half-sage? No problem. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and a powerful battle intent spread out. The 1000-moon great array in the 1000-moon palace had not been dispersed yet. Ling Xiao and Chungying might as well fight inside the 1000-moon palace. The outside could not sense the situation inside the 1000-moon palace. Senior sister Chung, I'm coming. Ling Xiao's body was surrounded by a vast blood qi. He did not deliberately display his fist skills. All kinds of fist skills gathered in his mind. Ling Xiao used the heart realm to outline the great emperor's fist intent in the tribulation lightning. He threw a simple punch at Chungying. Ling Xiao had learned a variety of martial arts. There were all kinds of divine-level martial arts, half-sage martial arts, supreme saint arts, and even the Taishu Emperor's fist left by the Taishu Emperor. The true meaning of these martial arts were different, but at this moment, Ling Xiao's punch faintly contained a mysterious aura. Boom! Ling Xiao's Qilin arm was filled with a faint purple qi. This punch was incomparably fierce and powerful. It caused the void to tremble violently as it pressed towards Chungying. What? Chungying's body trembled, and her eyes became a little solemn. Ling Xiao's punch contained an extremely terrifying power. It had actually almost broken through the limit of the Divine King realm, and reached the level of a half-saint. What shocked her even more was the fist intent contained in Ling Xiao's punch. It seemed to be a simple punch, but it also seemed to be all-encompassing and invincible. Chungying suppressed her cultivation to the first revolution half-sage realm, but she still felt the strong threat from Ling Xiao's punch. Whoosh! Chungying did not dare to be careless. Black sword qi rose around her body. She pointed her finger like a sword, and black sword light shot out from the tip of her finger towards Ling Xiao's punch. Crack! That punch was extremely ferocious. When Chungying's sword light came into contact with Ling Xiao's fist, it instantly exploded. However, the sword light was like rain. It didn't dissipate immediately. Instead, it bloomed like the bright moon above the sea. It turned into full moons one after another, forming a mysterious vision of thousands of moons in the sky. This was Cheng Ying's thousand moon sword formation. It was also a sword technique that she had created herself. She had integrated the true meaning of the thousand moon sword formation into it, which gave the sword endless vitality and incomparable strength. Once one was trapped in the thousand moon sword formation, there was no way to escape. In the end, one could only be trapped to death. Cheng Ying felt the terror of Ling Zhao's punch, so she did not hesitate to display the thousand moon sword formation. Rumble. The sky shook, and the mysterious vision of the sea rose. Ling Zhao's punch did not lose its momentum. It contained a monstrous fist intent that could destroy everything. It actually destroyed the full moons one after another. Sword chi exploded one after another. It was as if it was destroying dry weeds and rotten wood. It was impossible to block the power of the punch. Finally, the sky full of sword chi exploded. Cheng Ying's eyes flashed with a divine light. She struck out her palm across the sky and collided with Ling Zhao's punch. Bang! Chapter 1589. Phew! Ling Zhao took in a deep breath, and a stream of white qi shot out like a sword. The blood in his body was burning hot, and his purple qilin arm was also boiling hot. This punch could be said to be the peak of his strength. Junior brother Long, I didn't expect your physical body to be so strong. You haven't gone through the nirvana tribulation, but your physical body isn't much weaker than mine. You're a freak. Cheng Ying said gloomily. She had gone through 6 nirvana tribulations. Each nirvana tribulation would increase the strength of her physical body. 6 nirvana tribulations had made her physical body reach a terrifying level. However, Ling Zhao was only an early divine king. His physical body was so strong that it wasn't much weaker than hers. Senior sister Cheng, I have only tempered one of my arms. Once I've tempered my entire body, I might be able to compete with you in terms of physical strength. Ling Zhao smiled faintly. He was very satisfied with his punch. The power that had erupted from his arm was enough to threaten a first revolution half-saint. However, Ling Zhao knew that his physical body was still weaker than Cheng Ying's. If his entire body was tempered by the tribulation qi, he might be able to compete with her. You're a freak. However, junior brother Long, cultivation is the foundation. Your physical body is so strong. If you can break through to the sage-to-be realm, and go through the nirvana tribulation, your physical body will be even more terrifying. Cheng Ying said slowly. I know. However, I haven't been cultivating for long. If I forcefully increase my cultivation now, I'm afraid my foundation will be unstable. Moreover, I don't have much time left. I have to condense the tribulation seed within a year to have the chance to control the flipping sky seal. Ling Zhao said seriously. He had a deep understanding of his own cultivation base. Purely improving his cultivation base would not increase his combat strength by much. However, if he could obtain enough tribulation qi to refine his entire body, the improvement of his physical body would be a qualitative leap. Controlling the flipping sky seal is very difficult. Junior brother Long, you should know that Zhan Tianxing's cultivation has reached the peak of the 6th revolution half-saint. He has been reluctant to go through the 7th nirvana tribulation, because he wants to control the flipping sky seal. Rumor has it that he's from the war tribe. It's very difficult to compete with him. Cheng Ying said slowly. Zhan Tianxing's current strength was unfathomable. He had been reluctant to undergo the 7th nirvana tribulation and become the holy son of the war god Hall, because he wanted to control the cyclic sky seal. After becoming the holy son, he would no longer have the chance to touch the cyclic sky seal. I will definitely control the flipping sky seal. Even if it is Zhan Tianxing, I will not give up. Ling Zhao said seriously. I believe you. Anyway, I don't like that Zhan Tianxing at all. Haha. Junior brother Long, I'm going into seclusion for a few months. When I come out, I'll look for some junior brothers and sisters who are about to undergo tribulation. I'll strive to let you obtain more tribulation energy and condense the tribulation seed faster. Cheng Ying smiled. Thank you, Senior Cheng. Ling Zhao smiled and said goodbye to Cheng Ying before leaving Thousand Moon Peak. Although Cheng Ying had broken through to the 6th revolution half-saint realm, he still needed to familiarize himself with the sudden increase in power and stabilize his cultivation. He needed to cultivate in seclusion for a period of time. Ling Xiao returned to the battle hall. At this moment, several uninvited guests had arrived at the battle hall. Senior Brother Long, you're finally back. The mission elder has summoned you. Please come with us. There were two young men in black robes. Their faces were cold, and their auras were powerful. They were both great divine kings and were full of arrogance. Although they addressed Ling Xiao as senior brother, there was a trace of disdain in their eyes. They were extremely presumptuous and arrogant. The mission elder has summoned me? What's the matter? Ling Xiao frowned and asked. We don't know either. However, new disciples are required to complete a mission from the sect every year. It must be related to Senior Brother Long's mission. Senior Brother Long, you should leave quickly. Don't let the mission elder wait for too long. The two young men in black robes said coldly. Mission from the sect? All right, lead the way. Ling Xiao said as he looked at the two young men in black robes. Although the war god's temple had such a rule, it was only for inner disciples. They had always turned a blind eye to the actions of true disciples. Ling Xiao also wanted to see what kind of medicine this mission elder was selling in his gourd. Tiangong's eyes were filled with worry as he said softly, Junior Brother Long, I think they have ill intentions. You must be careful. Hey Donkey also walked up and said with an unfriendly look, Kid, do you want me to help you beat up these two guys? I don't like them at all. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, You don't have to worry. I'll go and understand the situation first. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Ling Xiao followed the two young men in black robes and flew towards the mission hall. The mission hall was the place where the disciples were assigned to carry out missions in the War God Hall. There were also some elders, deputy hall masters, and even supreme elders who would issue missions. As long as the disciples could complete the missions, they would receive corresponding contribution points. Every year, as long as the inner disciples completed a task assigned by the sect, they would be able to obtain the corresponding reward. However, heir disciples would often enter closed-door cultivation for several years at a time. Thus, this rule was rarely used for heir disciples. Ling Xiao felt that this mission was not simple. Therefore, he wanted to meet the mission elder to see what he was up to. Soon, Ling Xiao arrived at the mission hall under the guidance of the two young men in black robes. Go in. The mission elder is waiting for you inside. The young man in black robes sneered. He did not even bother to say another word to Ling Xiao. He turned around and left. Ling Xiao did not care about their attitude, and walked into the magnificent and extraordinary huge palace in front of him. The palace was very vast and dense with light. A middle-aged man in black robes stood in the middle. He was tall and had a dignified face. His eyes were filled with indifference. His aura was vast and unfathomable, causing faint ripples to appear around him. You are Long Ao Tian? An indifferent and cold voice sounded from the middle-aged man in black robes. It was like thunder that resounded in the main hall. The middle-aged man in black robes was the mission elder of the mission hall. His cultivation had reached the 7th revolution half-saint, Chen Song. Disciple Long Outyin greets the mission elder. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he said slowly. With Ling Zhao's incomparable insight, no matter how hard Chen Song tried to hide it, he could still sense the trace of malice hidden in Chen Song's eyes. Ling Zhao's heart skipped a beat. Chen Song had malice towards him. Ling Xiao immediately thought of some of the people he had offended recently. The names of Lei Qianjue, Lei Muan, Wu Chun Tang Fei, and Shuehua flashed through his mind. Long Outyin, you are able to become a true disciple with a cultivation of the Divine King realm. This is because the sect thinks highly of you. However, as a disciple of the War God Temple, you have to repay the sect and fight for the sect's interests. Do you understand? Chen Song said indifferently. He looked down at Ling Xiao with a condescending gaze. A strong sense of oppression was emitted from his body. Chapter 1590. Ling Xiao frowned slightly and said indifferently, As a disciple of the War God Temple, I will naturally protect the temple's interests. Why did the elder summon me here? Just say it. Chen Song's attitude displeased Ling Xiao. However, he also wanted to see just who had the ability to order the mission elder around. After all, as an elder of the mission hall, His status was equivalent to that of a deputy hall master of one of the 9 bloodlines. Even the Holy Sun would find it difficult to order him around. Chen Song glanced at Ling Xiao indifferently and said, "Very well. Then I will tell you directly. A genius of the Ghost Devil clan has recently appeared in the divine space. He is very powerful and incomparably ferocious. His cultivation is at the Great Divine King realm. Many inner disciples of the War God Temple have already died in his hands. Therefore, the sect needs you to lead a team to kill that genius of the Ghost Devil clan. It would be best if you can capture him alive." Genius of the Ghost Devil clan? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. Not only were there human geniuses training in the God Devil space, there were also many devil geniuses. They were proud to hunt down human geniuses to sharpen their cultivation. It was an extremely powerful place. The demon race's talent was originally slightly stronger than the human race. Therefore, demon geniuses in the same realm were always extremely ferocious. That's right. You will lead the team this time. There will be 4 inner disciples accompanying you. I hope you can kill that genius of the Ghost Devil clan this time. As long as you can kill him, each of you will be rewarded with 10,000 contribution points. If you can capture him alive, the contribution points will be doubled. Chen Song said slowly. Chen Song's voice was very cold and carried an undeniable fluctuation. This was a task assigned by the mission hall. There was no room for Ling Xiao to refuse. What information about that genius of the Ghost Devil clan? For example, his appearance, aura, secret technique, and cultivation? Ling Xiao asked calmly. He could feel Chen Song's malice, and he knew that the pursuit of the Ghost Devil clan's geniuses was probably just a pretense. No matter what, when I reach the divine space, I'm afraid that whoever wants to kill me will have nowhere to hide. Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. The genius of the Ghost Devil clan is very ferocious. I only know that his cultivation is most likely at the Great Divine King realm, not the Half-Saint realm. You'll have to rely on your own investigation. Alright, the 4 inner sanctum disciples you've teamed up with are all outside. Go out and meet up with them, and then set off immediately. Chen Song glanced at Ling Xiao indifferently. Then light flickered around him, and a faint holy light spread out. In an instant he disappeared in front of Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao sneered and turned to leave the technique hall. Outside the technique hall, there were already 4 figures waiting. The 4 figures were 3 men and 1 woman. The 3 men all had different temperaments. One of them was like an elegant scholar, while the other 2 had fierce-looking faces and burly figures. Their faces were somewhat similar, and they looked like a pair of brothers. The woman was wearing a red dress. She had a voluptuous figure and a beautiful face. She had a pair of large eyes that could steal one's soul. One look at her, and one would be unable to extricate themselves. The 2 fierce-looking young men couldn't hide the passion in their eyes when they saw the woman in the red dress. After Ling Xiao came out, the 4 inner sanctum disciples had different expressions. However, they all cupped their fists at Ling Xiao at the same time and said, "Greetings, Senior Brother Long." Ling Xiao could sense the look in their eyes. There were sneers, surprise, and disdain. However, they quickly regained their composure. No need for formalities. You all know our mission, right? Ling Xiao glanced at the 4 of them and said. The 4 inner sanctum disciples in front of him were all at the Great Divine King realm. Their auras were extremely powerful. They were probably the most outstanding among the inner sanctum disciples. They had the arrogance of a genius. "We know. Senior Brother Long, you're our leader. We'll listen to you. You must protect junior sister well," the woman in the red dress said with a smile. Her eyes were like silk, and her voice was soft. She looked delicate and pitiful. "Since you know, there's no time to lose. Let's set off now." Ling Xiao looked calm as if he didn't notice the woman in the red dress at all. He leaped towards the teleportation gate of the War God Temple. However, Ling Xiao could sense that the 2 fierce-looking young men were looking at him with hostility, because of the woman in the red dress. "You want to play with me? Then I'll play with you." Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. The 4 inner sanctum disciples didn't look like they were following him to hunt the geniuses of the Ghost Devil clan. Instead, they looked more like people who were monitoring him. Although they hid well, Ling Xiao could still sense the malice in their hearts. The teleportation gate of the War God Temple was one of the most important places in the War God Temple. Not only was there a void teleportation formation that crossed the heavenly domain, there were also teleportation gates that led to various secret realms. The War God Temple had a deep foundation. The sect had already occupied several ancient secret realms and opened them up. They were the best places for the disciples of the War God Temple to train. The teleportation gate that led to the divine devil space was also here. Ling Xiao also knew the names of the 4 inner sanctum disciples. The scholarly young man was called Wang Chuan, the fierce-looking 2 brothers were called Wei Zhen and Wei Xing, and the woman in the red dress was called Lu Xian. Although they didn't mention which faction they were from, Ling Xiao had already vaguely guessed that they weren't disciples of the Thunder Hall. After all, if the disciples of the Thunder Hall followed him into the divine devil space, it would be too easy to investigate if something happened to him. The person who wanted to deal with him in the dark shouldn't be so stupid. Buzz. The portal shone brightly. When Ling Xiao and the others opened their eyes again, they saw a gray sky. The void was filled with chaotic fiend god qi. They appeared in a huge city, Shangqing Ancient City. This ancient city was jointly managed by the 4 immortal holy lands of the Shangqing Celestial Domain. In addition to the War God Temple, the Heavenly Curse Sect, the 5 Elements Saint Sect, and the 9-layer Imperial Obelisk were also in the Shangqing Celestial Domain. The Divine Devil Space was located between the God World and the Devil World. It was once the ancient battlefield of the Great War of Gods and Devils. It was suppressed by the laws of the God World and the Devil World, and couldn't accommodate the power of the Saint Dao. Even if a saint entered it, his strength would be reduced to less than 1%. Even a half-step saint expert would be greatly suppressed. Only God Realm experts wouldn't be affected in the slightest. Therefore, Ling Xiao could sense that most of the people in Shangqing Ancient City were God-level experts. However, there were very few semi-sage experts. After all, their cultivation had been suppressed. So even a semi-sage expert would be in danger of dying here. Senior Brother Long, 3 days ago, a genius of the Ghost Devil clan killed 2 of our War God Temple's inner disciples in the Chaotic Devil Ridge. Why don't we go to the Chaotic Devil Ridge to investigate? Lu Xian's eyes twinkled as she smiled at Ling Xiao. Good. Let's go directly to the Chaotic Devil Ridge. Chapter 1591. Ling Xiao and the other 4 didn't stay in Shangqing Ancient City for long. They left the city and headed straight for the Chaotic Demon Ridge. After Ling Xiao and the others left Shangqing Ancient City, Shuehua and a black-robed man sat opposite each other in a tea house. Fellow Gu, Long Outyin has left Shangqing Ancient City and is heading straight for the Chaotic Demon Ridge. Shuehua's eyes flashed as he said to the black-robed man. The black-robed man was called Gu Chen. He was handsome and had an extremely feminine temperament. He was tall and slender, with loose black hair. His eyes were long and narrow, as if there was a blade light shooting out from them. His aura was unfathomable, which made Shuehua extremely solemn. Fellow Shui, Long Outyin is only an early divine king. Even if his talent is good and his battle prowess is passable, is there a need for you to treat him so seriously? Gu Chen said indifferently. Fellow Gu, Long Outyin can't be underestimated. Although he's only an early divine king, he once defeated a great divine king disciple of my Thunder Hall, with 3 punches. This time he must die. So to ensure that nothing goes wrong, I asked Brother Gu to help me. Shuehua's eyes flashed as he said slowly. I'm really curious. What's so special about Long Outyin? Since that's the case, I'll go with Fellow Shui. However, Fellow Shui, don't forget what you promised me. Gu Chen said indifferently. Fellow Gu, don't worry. As long as the person you mentioned appears, he'll definitely die with the 2 of us working together. Shuehua smiled confidently. Gu Chen was about to say something when his eyes suddenly flashed, revealing a strange expression. Fellow Taoist Shui, I'm afraid we don't have to wait any longer. That person has already appeared. What a coincidence, he is also in the Chaotic Demon Ridge. The Chaotic Demon Ridge was only a few 100,000 miles away from Shangqing Ancient City. Ling Xiao and the others traveled at full speed and arrived in less than a day. The Chaotic Fiend Ridge was a huge mountain ridge that stretched for tens of thousands of kilometers. It looked like a huge dragon that was hibernating, and it was shrouded in extremely chaotic fiend god qi all year round. Not only were there powerful divine beasts and demonic beasts in the chaotic Devil Ridge, but there were also many ancient ominous formations. It was a huge ruin. 3 days ago, 2 disciples of the War God Temple were exploring this ruin. They encountered a genius of the Ghost Devil clan, and were killed here. If it wasn't for one of the disciples sending back a message before his death, no one would have known that they were killed by a genius from the Ghost Devil clan. However, the soul pulses and auras of the disciples of the War God Hall would be recorded beforehand. Ling Zhao's group of 5 had all cultivated techniques that could capture soul pulses and auras, so it was not difficult for them to find the corpses of the 2 disciples of the War God Hall. The 5 of them entered the Demon Chaos Ridge. According to the pulses of their souls, they found the corpses of the 2 disciples of the War God Hall in a valley very quickly. However, they had already been reduced to dried corpses. Their flesh and blood had been sucked out of their bodies. Their foreheads were split open, and their faces were filled with extreme pain. They must have suffered a great deal of torture before they died. However, the genius of the Ghost Devil clan did not erase their auras, and left their corpses there. They were extremely savage and arrogant. Even Ling Zhao's face could not help but darken when he saw the corpses of the 2 disciples of the War God Hall. His eyes were cold. "Senior Brother Long, we must avenge them," Lu Xiener said with some anger. "Senior Brother Long, 3 days have passed. I'm afraid the genius of the Ghost Devil clan is no longer in the chaotic Fiend Ridge." Wang Chuan, who was a man of few words, said calmly. They wanted to use the 2 corpses to search for traces of the genius of the Ghost Devil clan. But Ling Xiao also discovered that the genius of the Ghost Devil clan was extremely vicious. The 2 disciples of the War God Hall, who were at least at the Great Perfection Divine King realm, were killed without any resistance. Ling Xiao could sense a faint demonic qi emanating from the 2 corpses. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He then pretended to check on the 2 corpses without batting an eyelid. He then quietly absorbed the demonic qi into his body and integrated it into the wordless heavenly book. The demonic qi was extremely weak, but through the wordless heavenly book, Ling Xiao could vaguely sense the faint fluctuation of the owner of the demonic qi. It's not far from here. The genius of the Ghost Devil clan is very likely to still be in the chaotic Fiend Ridge. Ling Xiao remained calm and said indifferently, "No matter what, since we're in the chaotic Fiend Ridge, let's check it out. Should we split up or go together?" Wei Zhen said in a muffled voice, "Senior Brother Long, let's go together. The genius of the Ghost Devil clan is too savage. If we split up, it'll be troublesome if he defeats us one by one." "That's right, let's go together," Lu Xiener said with a smile. Ling Xiao nodded and sneered in his heart. He knew that the 4 of them were spies and would not let him out of their sight. However, Ling Xiao did not care. He already had a vague feeling that the mastermind behind this was about to appear. "Then let's go to the chaotic Fiend Ridge and check it out," Ling Xiao said indifferently. He ignored the 4 of them and went straight into the depths of the chaotic Fiend Ridge. Wang Chuan, Lu Xiener, and the other 3 looked at each other and hurriedly followed. Ling Xiao restrained his aura. It seemed like he was just casually checking, but in fact, he had locked onto the demonic qi fluctuation with the wordless heavenly book, and headed in the direction of the owner of the demonic qi. Ling Xiao knew that it would not be long before he would be able to see the genius of the Ghost Devil clan. Ling Xiao thought to himself as he moved forward. He had tested his skills in the War God Temple and defeated Wu Chen with 3 punches. If the mastermind behind this wanted to kill him, they would not send Divine King experts. Wang Chuan, Lu Xiener, and the other 3 should not be the main force. They could only be regarded as spies. The main force was someone else. A half-saint expert? Ling Zhao's heart skipped a beat. In order to deal with him, the mastermind would at most send a low-level half-saint expert. Ling Xiao was not afraid of a low-level half-saint expert with his various trump cards. Buzz. Ling Xiao and the other 4 had already climbed up the huge mountain and were heading towards the depths of the chaotic Fiend Ridge. There was a mass of fiend god qi in the depths of the chaotic Fiend Ridge. It was very chaotic. The void was trembling slightly as if there was a mysterious fluctuation spreading out. A gleam of light flashed through Ling Zhao's eyes. He actually saw a cluster of dilapidated buildings in front of him. Most of them were dilapidated palaces and pavilions. They were surrounded by countless huge boulders, giving off an ancient and decaying aura. Those buildings were very strange. He could faintly see that the domes of the palaces were round. There were also some pointed towers, exuding an exotic charm. Chapter 1592. Senior Brother Long. This should be the remains of a sect from the ancient times. I have explored this place before, but I didn't find anything. Even if there is an inheritance, it should have been obtained by someone else. Wuxia said quickly when she saw that Ling Xiao seemed to be interested in the dilapidated buildings. Oh, then we have to check it out. Maybe the genius of the Ghost Devil clan is hiding here. Ling Xiao smiled and walked forward. Ling Xiao had already felt that according to the wordless heavenly book's lock on the trace of demon qi, the genius of the Ghost Devil clan should be here. However, he still needed to find the exact location. Ling Xiao was a little curious. Could it be that there was an inheritance in this dilapidated place that had not been discovered? Otherwise, why would the genius of the Ghost Devil clan still stay in the chaotic Demon Ridge? As for Wang Chuan, Wuxia, and the others, there was a faint sneer in their eyes. The genius of the Ghost Devil clan was hiding here? Naturally, they did not believe it at all. However, their task was to keep Ling Xiao in the chaotic Demon Ridge and wait for Shuehua's arrival. Ling Xiao was willing to waste a little more time in this place. Although they felt disdain in their hearts, it was exactly what they wanted. Everything was to keep Ling Xiao safe. They followed Ling Xiao into the dilapidated buildings in front of them. Ling Xiao did not care about the four people who had ulterior motives. Instead, he carefully examined the buildings. This dilapidated building complex was very vast. It could be vaguely seen that at its peak, there were at least hundreds of palaces and pavilions that rose and fell together. However, it was completely ruined now. There were some broken tiles under his feet, as well as some weapons that had lost their spirituality. Time was the greatest force. No matter how magnificent or prosperous you were, you would eventually turn into a pile of dust. Ling Xiao sighed in his heart. However, he still spread out the power of his primordial spirit and activated the power of the wordless heavenly book. He carefully examined, trying to find some clues. Until now, no one had discovered it. It must be hidden very deeply. Genesis. Ling Xiao's eyes were attracted by an ancient plaque. The ancient plaque was covered with cracks like a spider web. It was written in the ancient seal script and was casually discarded in front of a dilapidated palace. This plaque was too ordinary, so ordinary that very few people noticed it. Ling Xiao almost ignored it, but the slight trembling of the wordless heavenly book reminded him. This signboard seemed to contain an incomparably mystical power that could make people automatically ignore its existence. However, the more it was like this, the more it seemed that this signboard was not simple. What a strange plaque. It seems to have some kind of seal. A sharp light flashed through Ling Xiao's eyes. He carefully observed the two words and discovered that they contained extremely minute spatial ripples. It seemed to be some sort of sealing power. The power of the seal was extremely complicated, but after countless years, the power of the seal had become very weak. Did the genius of the Ghost Devil clan enter this seal? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and the light in his palm landed on the word Genesis. Boom! A vast devouring power burst out. Ling Xiao did not choose to study the power of the seal. Instead, he directly activated the sky-devouring secret skill. Immediately, rays of light surged into the two words and began to devour the power of the seal. The heavenly devouring secret skill could devour everything. At its peak, it could even devour thousands of worlds. It often had a miraculous effect on formations and seals. Therefore, Ling Xiao chose to directly break the seal with brute force. Senior Long, what are you doing? Ling Xiao's action attracted the attention of Wang Chuan, Wuxia, and the other three. They all gathered around with curiosity in their eyes. Of course I'm looking for the genius of the Ghost Devil clan. That guy might be hiding here. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Kacha. A crisp sound rang out, and suddenly, the earth trembled slightly. In front of Ling Xiao, a strange light door appeared in the dilapidated palace, leading to the depths of the earth. What? Wang Chuan, Luciener, and the other three were stunned. They originally wanted to scoff at Ling Xiao, but they did not expect that there was really something hidden here. Suddenly, they felt a little nervous. Could it be that Long Outyin had guessed correctly? At the thought of the ferocity of the genius of the Ghost Devil clan, Wang Chuan, Luciener, and the other three's faces became a little ugly. Let's go. Ling Xiao looked at the four of them with a smile that was not a smile. They gritted their teeth and followed Ling Xiao into the door of light. Buzz. Bright light filled the air, and the five of them entered an underground palace through the light door. A rotten and ancient aura pervaded the air, and the void exuded an incomparably dense demonic aura. It was even a little eerie, and it made them feel as if they had entered the Nine Nether Hell. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he began to look around. This was an incomparably huge underground palace, and there were some powerful weapons placed around. There were also many corpses, but all of them had lost their spirituality, and were no different from ordinary stones and soil. In the center of the underground palace, there was a black corpse sitting cross-legged, surrounded by dense black demonic aura. The corpse still exuded a powerful aura, and on top of the corpse's head, there was a blooming black lotus. A figure in a black robe, with his back facing Ling Xiao and the others, was refining the black lotus. The aura around him was extremely powerful, and it seemed like he was about to break through the limit of the complete Divine King realm and reach the Sage-to-Be realm. Boom. As if he had felt the aura of Ling Xiao and the others, the black-robed figure exuded a terrifying aura. He turned his head instantly, and two cold, cruel, and dark rays of light shot out from his eyes. It was a young man in a black robe. Although he looked no different from a human and was very handsome, there were two black horns on his head. His eyes were cruel and cold, and the ghostly aura around him instantly filled the entire underground palace. That kind of evil power made Wang Chuan and Lu Xiener tremble uncontrollably, and their faces changed drastically. You are the genius of the Ghost Devil clan? Lu Xiener's voice trembled, and she could not help but ask. Human ants, how dare you come here? You're only fit to be food. Since you're here, stay here. The black-robed young man smiled cruelly and stood up instantly, exuding a terrifying aura. His words made the hearts of Lu Xiener, Wang Chuan, and the others sink. The black-robed young man in front of them was really the genius of the Ghost Devil clan. Ling Xiao had hit the nail on the head. Chapter 1593. Wang Chuan, Lucien, Wei Zhen and Wei Xing followed Ling Xiao into the Divine Devil space. Nominally, they were here to kill the genius of Ghost Devil clan, but in reality, they were here to deal with Ling Xiao. Wang Chuan, Lucien, and the other three were here to monitor Ling Xiao, while Shuehua was here to kill Ling Xiao. They brought Ling Xiao to the chaotic Devil Ridge to investigate the cause of the death of the disciple of War God Temple, just to wait for Shuehua's arrival. In their opinion, since the disciple of War God Temple had died 3 days ago, the genius of Ghost Devil clan should have already left the chaotic Devil Ridge. It was impossible for him to wait for the experts of War God Temple to kill him. However, they didn't expect that Ling Xiao would really find an underground palace, and the genius of Ghost Devil clan was inside. Wang Chuan, Lucien, and the other three didn't want to fight the genius of Ghost Devil clan. There were more than a dozen great Divine King experts who had died in the hands of the genius of Ghost Devil clan. The 5 of them wanted to kill the genius of Ghost Devil clan, but it was uncertain who would be the one to die. Their luck was really bad. Ling Xiao didn't care about their resentment, but carefully observed the genius of Ghost Devil clan. The black-robed youth in front of him had a terrifying aura, far surpassing that of an ordinary great Divine King expert. He was probably not much weaker than a First Revolution half-saint. The black skeleton was obviously the skeleton of a saint. Although countless years had passed, it still emitted a faint saint's aura. The Black Lotus wasn't an ordinary object either, as the genius of Ghost Devil clan was refining the mysterious energy in the Black Lotus. Moreover, Ling Xiao could feel the fluctuation of tribulation chi from the Black Lotus. Ghost Devil clan, how dare you kill the disciple of War God Temple? You really don't know the meaning of death. If you surrender now, I might give you a quick death. Otherwise, I'll make you suffer a life or death dilemma. Ling Xiao smiled faintly, looking straight at the genius of Ghost Devil clan. Huh. You're just an early divine king. How dare you talk to me like that? What are the disciples of War God Temple? I've killed a lot of disciples of your 4 great holy lands, and it was a wonderful taste. Originally, I planned to hunt down a few more human experts after coming out of seclusion. I didn't expect you to deliver yourselves to me. Since that's the case, you ants of the human race should obediently become my food. The genius of the Ghost Devil clan licked his lips. His eyes were bloodshot as he said cruelly. At this moment, Wang Chuan and Lu Xiener were incomparably depressed. They even wanted the genius of the Ghost Devil clan to directly kill Ling Xiao. However, this was only a thought. At this time, they had to unite against a common enemy. Otherwise, they would all die here today. Senior Brother Long, let's kill him together. Wang Chuan's eyes shone with unparalleled sharpness. Blazing sword intent circled around him, making him look like an unsheathed divine sword. That's right. Senior Brother Long, your battle prowess is extraordinary. A mere genius of the Ghost Devil clan is no match for you. We'll support you and kill him directly. Lu Xiener, Wei Zhen, and Wei Xing's eyes were filled with incomparable decisiveness. They had secretly informed Senior Brother Xuehua. As long as Senior Brother Xuehua arrived, no matter if it was the genius of the Ghost Devil clan or Long Outyin, they would all die. What they needed to do now was to stall for time and preserve their strength. Ants of the human race, you still want to resist? You really don't know the meaning of death. The genius of the Ghost Devil clan sneered. Although he was curious about how Ling Xiao and the other 4 entered the underground palace, he was too lazy to ask. He was incomparably confident in his own strength. As long as he captured the 5 humans in front of him, he could directly interrogate them. Boom. The void trembled. The genius of the Ghost Devil clan exuded a terrifying aura. It sounded like the wailing of ghosts and howling of wolves. A black light flashed around his body. In an instant, he appeared in front of Wang Chuan and Lu Xiener. His sharp and slender nails were directly aimed at their hearts. Wang Chuan and Lu Xiener were so depressed that they almost vomited blood. Was there something wrong with this genius of the Ghost Devil clan? They had clearly said that Long Outyin was powerful, but this genius of the Ghost Devil clan still came straight for them. Clang! A sharp ancient sword appeared in Wang Chuan's palm. The sword light was incomparably blazing and extraordinary. It directly slashed down on the genius of the Ghost Devil clan's arm. A scarlet feather fan appeared in Lu Xiener's hand. With a wave of her fan, a vast sea of fire appeared. It was as if a flaming divine bird flew out and pounced on the genius of the Ghost Devil clan. The power of the Ghost Devil clan was mostly of the dark and evil attribute. It would be restrained by the power of thunder, fire, and other extreme yang energy. The feather fan in Lu Xiener's hand was extraordinary. It was a damaged saint artifact, but its power was not bad. Boom. The genius of the Ghost Devil clan sneered. His 10 fingernails clanged like sharp swords. One of his palms clasped the ancient sword in Wang Chuan's hand, shattering the sword light that filled the sky. The other palm was not afraid of the flaming divine bird at all. It directly grabbed the flaming divine bird in his palm and crushed it. Flames filled the void and sword chi rose. The genius of the Ghost Devil clan intertwined his palms and with lightning speed, he suddenly slapped on Wang Chuan and Lu Xiener's chests. Immediately, they vomited blood and were sent flying backward. Kill! Wei Zhen and Wei Xing roared. A huge mountain-splitting axe appeared in each of their hands. Divine force gushed out from their bodies. They were suffused with a yellow light. With an incomparably heavy momentum, they chopped towards the genius of the Ghost Devil clan. Their vital energy and blood were boiling. Their muscles contained explosive power. There was a faint wind and thunder aura around them. Ants, you don't know what power is. The genius of the Ghost Devil clan showed a trace of disdain in his eyes. His body swayed and suddenly, several afterimages appeared in the void. His sharp fingernails slashed through the void and collided with the 2 mountain-splitting axes. Immediately, bright sparks burst out. The genius of the Ghost Devil clan used his ingenious strength to disperse the violent force contained in the mountain-splitting axes. Then he directly slashed Wei Zhen and Wei Xing's chests, leaving a few deep bloody marks. Moreover, strands of black ghost chi were creeping into their bodies, causing their expressions to change drastically. They hurriedly retreated. Senior Brother Long, save us. Your combat strength is extraordinary. You have even killed a First Revolution half-saint. This is just a ghost devil expert. You can kill him with just one finger. Lu Xiener's face was full of anxiety. She immediately shouted at Ling Xiao. At this moment, Ling Xiao had already used the teleportation secret technique to evade the Ghost Devil Clan's attack. He was just in time to observe the Ghost Devil Clan's attack on Wang Chuan, Lu Xiener, Wei Zhen, and Wei Xing. Lu Xiener's voice attracted the attention of the genius of the Ghost Devil Clan. His gaze fell on Ling Xiao. Interesting, human ant. I feel that your flesh is incomparably delicious. Let's see how strong you are. The genius of the Ghost Devil Clan licked his lips. Ghost Qi whistled around his body. In a flash, he pounced on Ling Xiao. Chapter 1594. The eyes of the genius from Ghost Devil Clan were red and blazing. He could feel the powerful blood qi and majestic life essence in Ling Xiao's body, which made him tremble with excitement. The flesh and blood of human experts was the best food for the Ghost Devil Clan. Not only was it delicious, but it could also increase one's cultivation by devouring human flesh and blood. Rumble. Ghostly shadows appeared in the void, emitting sharp whistling sounds. Their sharp nails intertwined like sword light and shrouded Ling Xiao. That cold aura seemed to contain the power of extreme coldness, which could almost completely freeze a person. Ghost Devil Clan? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed sharply. This time he did not dodge. Instead, he threw out a simple punch. Kacha! Golden lightning exploded. Incomparably violent energy gushed out from Ling Xiao's body, converging into a vast chaotic fist print. It seemed to be able to suppress the heavens and suppress all directions. It directly flew towards the genius from Ghost Devil Clan. Especially Ling Xiao's arm, which was filled with noble purple qi, instantly became extremely resplendent. It was like a purple heavenly river traversing the void, unstoppable. The genius from Ghost Devil Clan shuddered. His eyes were filled with incomparable shock. He could feel an incomparably terrifying energy fluctuation from this punch. Immediately he roared without thinking. Ghost Shadow Saint Sword. In an instant, the ghostly shadows in the sky converged together, forming a blazing sword light that shot towards Ling Xiao's vital points. At the same time, the genius from Ghost Devil Clan seemed to have exploded, turning into countless black shadows that shot out in all directions. The genius from Ghost Devil Clan also felt the terror of Ling Xiao's punch. He did not dare to take it head-on, and chose to dodge. Rumble. Ling Xiao's expression did not change. He was still incomparably calm and indifferent. His fist print was indomitable. Faint chaotic light enveloped the heavens. In an instant, it collided with the ghostly sword qi that filled the sky, erupting with the sound of metal clashing. His fist print was like a vast world. It actually sucked in the ghostly sword qi that filled the sky and exploded in an instant. Dazzling divine light swept across the sky, blowing away half of the ghosts in the sky. Finally, the genius of the Ghost Devil Clan appeared in the void. His eyes were filled with disbelief, and his aura had weakened a little. Previously, he had transformed into a sky full of ghostly shadows in an attempt to avoid Ling Xiao's punch. He did not expect that he would still be affected. One had to know that each of the ghostly shadows was formed from his power. Every time one of them was destroyed, his power would weaken by a bit. Brat, you're courting death. The genius of the Ghost Devil Clan became furious. Black ghost energy rose around his body. In a flash, his aura skyrocketed. A mysterious vortex appeared behind him, emitting an ancient and monstrous aura. A phantom of a ghost saint emerged from within. With a flash of light, it pounced towards Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He could feel that the ghost saint's shadow was very powerful. It had the strength of a First Revolution half-saint. Its attack contained the original strength of death. It was very terrifying. Bang! Ling Xiao threw out a punch, colliding with the ghost saint's shadow. However, it was like punching cotton. The ghost saint's shadow directly exploded, emitting a sharp whistling sound. It turned into layers of ghostly shadows, trying to drill into Ling Xiao's body. Those ghostly shadows emitted the aura of death, like maggots in a tarsal bone. One could imagine that once they invaded one's body, One's life essence would be sucked dry in an instant. Come lightning. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he softly spat out a word. Rumble. Instantly, the lightning around his body blazed. A vast and majestic lightning gushed out from his body. Golden lightning streaked across the sky, intertwining with an incomparably violent destructive force. There was even a faint shadow of the mysterious Lightning Emperor behind Ling Xiao. Lightning Emperor Technique. Ling Xiao had obtained the inheritance of the Lightning Emperor Technique. This kind of incomparably fierce lightning energy was the nemesis of those ghostly figures. Amidst the lightning that filled the sky, those ghostly figures seemed to have been struck by lightning. Although they were not annihilated in an instant, their bodies began to tremble. Fire come! Ling Xiao shouted again. In an instant, the heaven-devouring divine fire gushed out from his body. It flowed with an ancient and mysterious aura, shrouding the ghostly shadows in the sky. Boom! The ghostly shadows that filled the sky exploded in an instant. Then they were swept up by the heaven-devouring divine fire, turning into the purest energy and entering Ling Zhao's body. If that's all you have, you'd better die. Ling Zhao's eyes were indifferent. Lightning and flames lingered around his body, like an invincible god of war. He soared into the sky and charged towards the genius of Ghost Devil Clan. With Ling Zhao's current strength, he did not even put Divine King Realm experts in his eyes, not even the genius of Ghost Devil Clan. Who the hell are you? You're just an early Divine King Realm expert. How can you possess such terrifying strength? Could it be that you're a genius of the Emperor Clan? The genius of Ghost Devil Clan trembled. His eyes were filled with an ugly expression. The Ghost Saint's shadow was the power of the Ghost Saint of the Ghost Devil Clan. It was extremely powerful. It could erupt with the strength of a First Revolution half-saint. However, it was still obliterated by Ling Zhao's lightning flames. His face became extremely unsightly. I'm a disciple of War God Temple, Ling Xiao said indifferently. His blazing fist covered the sky and pressed down on the genius of Ghost Devil Clan. Die. That genius from Ghost Devil Clan also went berserk. His aura rose, and a blazing sword light pierced towards Ling Zhao's glabella. It was an extremely ruthless move. He wanted to perish together with his opponent. The sword light contained a terrifying Saint Dao energy that seemed to be able to tear apart everything. If it was an ordinary person, he would have chosen to dodge immediately. Otherwise, the genius of Ghost Devil Clan might not necessarily die. However, if the sword light pierced through his glabella and sea of consciousness, he would probably die instantly. The geniuses of the Ghost Devil Clan also wanted to attack Ling Xiao. Gotcha! Ling Zhao's eyes were incomparably calm. He didn't even look at the sword light. His fist moved forward and blasted towards the chest of the genius of Ghost Devil Clan. Despicable human, die! The genius of Ghost Devil Clan revealed a trace of madness in his eyes. He activated the terrifying energy around his body, causing the sword light's power to reach the extreme. Rumble! Blazing divine light erupted. Ling Zhao's fist landed on the genius of Ghost Devil Clan. However, the genius of Ghost Devil Clan also pierced Ling Zhao's glabella with his sword. The divine light shrouded everything in the sky. Wang Chuan, Luciener and the others couldn't help but change their expressions. Is senior brother Long really dead? Wang Chuan and Lucien were struggling. They were even anxious. They had followed Ling Xiao into the underground palace. However, the seal to enter had been broken by Ling Xiao, but the seal to exit was still there. They were like turtles in a jar. They could only watch the battle in front of them. There was no way for them to escape at all. Although they couldn't wait for Ling Xiao to be killed by the genius of the Ghost Devil Clan. Ling Zhao's battle prowess was just too terrifying. That kind of power just now had made the four of them tremble all over. They also understood that they were no match for Ling Xiao. However, once Ling Xiao died, the genius of Ghost Devil Clan would probably deal with them next. I hope senior brother Shui can arrive soon. Luciener's eyes revealed a trace of anxiety. Chapter 1595. Boom. A terrifying force exploded. The Ghost Devil Clan's genius trembled as half of his body turned into a bloody mist. He was sent flying, his body was badly injured. When his blazing Ghost Shadow sacred sword was about to pierce Ling Zhao's forehead, it felt as though it was blocked by a hard object. It could not advance any further. How is this possible? The Ghost Devil Clan's genius roared in disbelief as he spurted out blood. His Ghost Shadow Sacred Sword was actually unable to pierce through Ling Zhao's forehead. Then Ling Zhao's purple arm suddenly chopped down, and the sword light exploded. Nothing is impossible. You are weak and I am strong. Therefore, I will live if you die. Ling Zhao said indifferently. His figure walked out of the divine light that filled the sky. His expression was indifferent and calm, and his eyes were blazing with divine light. He didn't choose to block the Ghost Shadow Sacred Sword from the Ghost Devil race's genius. Instead, he used the Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablet to block it. Ling Zhao had already refined 9 Heaven Dao Primal Chaos Tablets. Even though he didn't reveal it out of caution, it wasn't a problem to use it to block the injury on his forehead. Wang. Ghost Qi rose around the Ghost Devil Clan's genius and condensed into another body. However, his aura was extremely weak and his eyes were filled with killing intent. You are wrong. Today, it is not you who is strong and I who is weak. Today you will die. The Ghost Devil Clan's genius's eyes were filled with madness. Ghost Qi surged around him as he spurted out a mouthful of blood that landed on the Black Lotus. Ancient Ghost Saint, awaken! The Ghost Devil Clan's genius roared as he spurted out a few more mouthfuls of blood that landed on the Black Lotus. The Black Lotus turned blood red in an instant. An ancient and terrifying wave spread out, causing the underground palace to tremble violently. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He saw that the black skeleton was actually trembling violently. Then it stood up directly from the ground, exuding an incomparably terrifying aura. 2 balls of black flames appeared from its sunken eye sockets. They were cold and cruel, and filled with killing intent as they landed on Ling Zhao's body. You actually used a secret technique to communicate with the Ghost Saint's remnant soul? Interesting. But do you think this broken saint bone can save you? Ling Zhao sneered. He could see that the genius of the Ghost Devil Clan was using a secret method to communicate with the remnant soul in the saint bone, and temporarily summon a part of its power. The main reason for this was the Black Lotus. It was the source of the Ghost Saint's power. Human ant, you made me lose my 9 tribulations, Ghost Lotus. You must die. The genius from the Ghost Devil Clan growled, his face filled with pain. Obviously, the Black Lotus was extremely useful to him, but he had no choice but to give it up in order to deal with Ling Zhao. This made him even more furious. Bang! 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 The Ghost Saint's skeleton stood up and took a step forward, causing the earth to tremble violently. The underground palace seemed to be on the verge of collapsing. The Black Lotus became even more dazzling, causing the aura of the Ghost Saint's skeleton to skyrocket. In the blink of an eye, the aura of the Ghost Saint's corpse surpassed that of the Ghost Devil Clan's genius, and became increasingly unfathomable. Damn it, what the hell is this? Wei Zhen and Wei Xing's eyes were filled with incomparable terror. The Ghost Saint's skeleton made their scalps go numb. The aura of the Ghost Saint's skeleton made them feel as if they were facing an elder or a deputy palace master of a sect. Wang Chuan and Lu Xiener's expression changed drastically as they involuntarily retreated. Senior Brother Long, you must protect Xiener. Quickly kill this bastard from the Ghost Devil Clan. Lu Xiener pretended to be pitiful and said, "Get lost." Ling Zhao said somewhat impatiently. His eyes revealed a trace of seriousness. The Ghost Saint's skeleton was indeed very powerful. Ling Zhao was already prepared to take out the mysterious Kuan sword to deal with it. At this moment, the wordless heavenly book in Ling Zhao's sea of consciousness suddenly trembled slightly, sending out waves of excitement as if it had encountered a supreme delicacy. Rumble. Ling Zhao's sea of consciousness shone brightly in an instant as streaks of 9-colored divine rainbows shot out from between his eyebrows. In the blink of an eye, they turned into a giant 9-colored net and enveloped the Ghost Saint's skeleton. The Ghost Saint's skeleton struggled violently as it let out a monstrous roar. The ghost aura around it was monstrous and the Black Lotus trembled violently, emitting waves of incomparable fear. However, no matter how the Ghost Saint's skeleton struggled, it was unable to break free from the giant 9-colored net. The net tightened and pulled the skeleton towards the center of Ling Zhao's eyebrows. What? This sudden turn of events not only stunned Wang Chuan, Lu Xiener, and the others, but also the Ghost Devil Clan's genius. The Ghost Devil clan's genius was counting on the Ghost Saint's skeleton to kill all the abominable humans. Who would have thought that something like this would happen? Roar! The Black Lotus also began to struggle violently. In an instant, it bloomed, and an incomparably terrifying ghostly figure appeared. It looked ferocious and terrifying, with 2 horns on its head and black scales all over its body. It was extremely ferocious and looked at Ling Xiao with eyes filled with incomparable fury. However, he only had time to roar before he was pulled into Ling Xiao's sea of consciousness by the giant 9-colored net. Then he was swallowed by the wordless heavenly book. The Ghost Devil clan's genius's eyes twitched as he felt his scalp go numb. How could he not see it now? The Ghost Saint's remnant soul was actually hidden in the Black Lotus. He was still rashly swallowing the Black Lotus. If it weren't for these humans, he might have already been possessed by the Ghost Saint. It could be said that he had profited from a disaster. However, the Ghost Devil clan's genius's face was still full of unwillingness. He glared at Ling Xiao and roared, "Despicable human, just you wait. Sooner or later, I will kill you with my own hands." A black jade talisman exploded in his palm, and turned into a dazzling light that wrapped around him. Then he disappeared from the underground palace. There was a trace of regret in Ling Xiao's eyes, but he also felt helpless. He didn't know why the wordless heavenly book had gone crazy and swallowed the Ghost Saint's skeleton. However, he had no time to chase after the Ghost Devil clan's genius, because he had to control the wordless heavenly book. Boom! The Ghost Saint's skeleton and 9 Tribulation Ghost Lotus were both refined by the wordless heavenly book. However, the Tribulation Chi in the 9 Tribulation Ghost Lotus was fed back to Ling Xiao by the wordless heavenly book. It exploded in Ling Xiao's body like a blazing blade, wreaking havoc in his body. Chapter 1596. Wang Chuan, Lucien Wei Zhen, and Wei Xing looked at each other with a complicated and shocked look in their eyes. When the Ghost Saint's skeleton appeared, they were all in despair and thought that they were dead for sure. After all, the aura of the Ghost Saint's skeleton was so terrifying that they didn't even have the strength to resist. However, what they didn't expect was that in the blink of an eye, the Ghost Saint's skeleton was destroyed by Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao became more and more mysterious in their hearts. They even felt a little regretful. Ling Xiao's combat strength was so terrifying that even if senior brother Shuehua came, would he be able to kill him? No, we must inform senior brother Shui about this. Wang Chuan and Lucien looked at each other and secretly made up their minds. Boom. However, at this moment, an unforeseen event occurred. A mysterious ghostly shadow silently condensed in the void. It looked at Ling Xiao with incomparable resentment and instantly pounced on Wang Chuan, Lucien and the other 3. The ghostly shadow appeared too suddenly, and didn't even have the slightest resistance. Wang Chuan and the other 3 couldn't react in time, and were instantly invaded by the ghostly shadow. What is this? Wang Chuan, Lucien and the other 3's faces changed drastically. They wanted to roar, but they seemed to be strangled by some mysterious existence. Their bodies trembled violently, and their eyes were filled with incomparable horror. They couldn't make the slightest sound at all. They felt that the life in their bodies was rapidly draining away, and a sense of fear and threat of death enveloped them. Their eyes were filled with pleading as they looked at Ling Xiao, hoping that Ling Xiao would save them at this moment. However, Ling Xiao's eyes were tightly shut as he sat cross-legged in the underground palace. His body was shrouded in a mysterious light, as if he was in the deepest state of cultivation. He didn't know the situation they were facing at all. However, even if Ling Xiao knew, whether he was willing to save them or not was another matter. Wang Chuan, Lucien, and the other 3 were quickly drained of their life essence by the ghostly figure. Even their yuan spirits were completely devoured, turning into 4 dried corpses. Even in death, their eyes were still filled with unwillingness and regret. After devouring Wang Chuan and the other 3 people, the 4 ghost shadows flashed in the void and condensed into a virtual shadow again. It looked a little more solid, with a ferocious face and 2 horns on its head. It was very similar to the ghost shadow in the 9 Tribulations Ghost Lotus. The remnant soul of the Ghost Saint had not been completely destroyed. He looked at Ling Xiao with great resentment, and there was a hint of fear in his eyes. Then, with a flash of light, he disappeared from the underground palace. The remnant soul of the ghost saint? After the ghost sage left, Ling Xiao's eyes flashed and he slowly opened them. He had also sensed the presence of the ghostly figure earlier, but he was unable to pay attention to it as he was refining the tribulation chi. At the same time, the ghostly figure seemed extremely strange. He had directly drained 4 great perfection god kings into dried corpses. Ling Xiao probably would not be able to keep him here. The 9 tribulations ghost lotus had provided Ling Xiao with over 1,000 strands of tribulation chi, but it had only condensed half of his left hand. It was not completely solid. It was possible to imagine how much tribulation chi he would need towards the end. Ling Xiao could sense how powerful the remnant soul of the ghost saint was. He was probably no ordinary saint, or he would not have been able to survive until now. However, the deaths of Wang Chuan, Lu Xian'er, and the other 3 people saved Ling Xiao the trouble of doing anything. After all, they were all disciples of the war god Hall. If he personally killed them, it would be rather troublesome. Just when Ling Xiao was about to leave the underground palace, a sliver of surprise suddenly appeared in his eyes. He suddenly discovered that there was actually a mysterious plaque in the underground palace as well. There were 2 words written in ancient seal script on it. Ghost King. This plaque seemed to be one with the plaque outside. They both gave off a presence that was easy to overlook. When the 2 were connected, they formed 4 words. Genesis Ghost King. Ling Xiao had never heard of this name before. Perhaps it was because too much time had passed. He did not know which era this supreme figure was from, but he had actually died here. Moreover, Ling Xiao actually sensed the faint ripples of a seal from the 2 words Ghost King. Could it be that there are other secret realms or caves? Ling Xiao's eyes flickered. He immediately used the heaven-devouring secret technique and directly refined the seal on the 2 words Ghost King. This time, Ling Xiao sensed a presence that was similar to the ghostly figures from the seal, but also completely different at the same time. It made Ling Xiao rather confused. Buzz! The underground palace trembled slightly, and a bright light burst out. In the middle of the underground palace, an ancient door with black and white intertwined appeared. It seemed to have appeared out of thin air, giving off strong spatial fluctuations. The ancient door was intertwined with black and white divine light. The black divine light contained evil and deathly stillness fluctuations, while the white divine light contained a holy and vital aura. The 2 kinds of power fluctuations were completely different, but they formed a perfect balance. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He pondered for a moment, but still stepped into the ancient door. Boom! A bright light burst out in front of him, and suddenly the scene changed drastically. Ling Xiao appeared in the void, as if he was overlooking the earth below. However, what he saw in front of him shocked him. This is actually the Demon Disorder Ridge? Ling Xiao muttered to himself. However, he was cautious by nature. He had already used the heaven-shrouding secret technique to conceal his presence. He saw a huge mountain range that stretched for hundreds of thousands of miles, exuding ancient and majestic aura fluctuations. However, most of the mountain was shrouded in a mysterious mass of chaotic energy, and only a part of the mountain was exposed. It was as if it was separated by a layer of space barrier, forming different mysterious scenes. In other words, what Ling Xiao saw now was the real Demon Disorder Ridge. Previously, Ling Xiao, Wang Chuan, and the others saw that the Demon Disorder Ridge was tens of thousands of miles in radius. It was ordinary and unremarkable. That was only a part of it that was exposed. There was a wider area that was hidden. Only now did Ling Xiao see the whole picture. In the shrouded area, the mountains were majestic, stone forests were everywhere, and there were countless broken weapons and huge skeletons, exuding a monstrous evil chi. It was like an Azura hell. A sharp light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes, and he instantly leapt towards the shrouded area. This place has been covered in dust for tens of thousands of years. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. This place was like an ancient battlefield. Wind and sand were everywhere, and countless powerful weapons were damaged. They had even lost any spirituality and had become scrap metal. Although countless years had passed, Ling Xiao could still vaguely see that there were powerful human race, demon race, and monster race that were tens of thousands of feet tall, or even hundreds of thousands of feet tall. Chapter 1597. Countless years had passed. Ling Xiao could see that the corpses below the Sage Realm had almost rotted and turned into mud. Only the corpses of the Sage Realm still retained some power. They emitted a monstrous baleful aura, and even formed an extremely chaotic domain that could tear everything apart. If Ling Xiao's physical body was not strong enough, he might not have been able to withstand the power of the domain. Could this be the beginning of the epoch when the human race and the demon race were fighting for the title of the Epic Lord? After that battle, the human race became the master of the divine world, and started a new epoch. The 9 emperors dominated the ancient times and dominated the heavens. That was the human race's most glorious time. The demon race could only retreat and hide in the demon world to survive. Ling Xiao muttered to himself softly, his voice carrying a hint of a sigh. The human race's most glorious time was during the 9 emperors era. At that time, the human race had many experts. Under the leadership of the 9 emperors, the human race created glory after glory. Even the demon race and the demon race, the overlords of the epoch, had to retreat. This epoch was the human race's epoch. It was created by countless ancestors of the human race. From the tragic traces of the battlefield, one could see the price that the human race had paid. Before the 9 emperors, the human race did not have any great emperor experts. They could only become food for the demon race and other ancient races. That was also the darkest era, an era that many people had forgotten. After the 9 emperors of the human race declined rapidly for thousands of years. Without a great emperor to suppress the world, they could only rely on the blessings of the 9 emperors and hide in the divine world. After countless epochs, the human race has reached the peak of its glory. I'm afraid that they have forgotten the darkness and humiliation of the past. I wonder what will happen to the human race when the great tribulation of the epoch descends? Ling Xiao sighed. Looking at the scene before him, he thought about many things. Without a great emperor to suppress the races, many of them had disappeared in the long river of time. Even if they were once glorious, they had been completely annihilated. For example, the ghost race used to be the lord of an epoch. They used to be extremely glorious and had a great emperor suppressing them. They were invincible in the world. However, they had also declined. Now, the ghost race had been devoured by the devil race, and had become a branch of the devil race. Even the ghost world had been devoured by the devil world. Ling Xiao strolled in the chaotic demon ridge. Looking at the traces of battle all over the ground, his thoughts drifted into the distance. He casually moved forward, heading towards the depths of the chaotic demon ridge. Ling Xiao could feel that the hidden place in the chaotic demon ridge seemed to have turned into a ghost town. The sky was dark and gloomy, and the death qi of the ancient experts gathered and spread toward the central area. Ling Xiao's eyes flickered, and he turned into a faint ray of light, silently moving towards the depths of the chaotic demon ridge. Roar! It was as though ghosts were wailing and wolves were howling. It was also as though there were countless ghosts lingering in the air. Ling Xiao saw that on the tallest mountain peak, there was an ancient altar shrouded in endless black fog. The ancient altar was as red as blood and emitted a monstrous baleful aura. Boundless ghost aura gathered towards the altar from all directions. Ling Xiao could see a boy in a blood-red robe, who looked about 8 or 9 years old, sitting cross-legged on the blood-red altar, exuding an extremely evil wave. The ghost qi in the surroundings gathered towards him. Every time he breathed in and out, there would be ghost qi rising, making his aura stronger and stronger. Around the altar, there were more than a dozen black-robed figures guarding him. Ling Xiao found that one of the black-robed figures was a little weak. Obviously, he was not as strong as the others. Ling Xiao found him very familiar. He was the genius of the ghost devil race. The black-robed figures were all in the divine king realm. They were also breathing in and out the ghost qi around them. Is he trying to break through to the half-saint realm with the help of the altar? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed sharply. He could feel that the blood-robed boy's qi was extremely terrifying, but he was still in the divine king realm. At this moment, he actually showed signs of undergoing the nirvana tribulation. Buzz! Suddenly, the blood-robed boy opened his eyes. 2 cruel and cold rays of blood-red light shot out, landing on the genius of the ghost devil race. Gui Xiong, are you sure no one followed you in here? The blood-robed boy spoke in an extremely ancient voice, causing the surrounding void to tremble slightly. The genius of the ghost devil race, who was the Gue Xiong the blood-robed boy spoke of, immediately knelt down respectfully. Greetings, ancestor. That human is too strong. Gue Xiong is no match for him. However, when Gue Xiong left, he used a teleportation saint talisman. That human shouldn't be able to find this place. Are you sure? The blood-robed boy sneered as a trace of cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. Ancestor Gue Xiong. Gue Xiong. Gue Xiong trembled as a sliver of fear appeared in his eyes. He hurriedly prostrated himself on the ground and stopped moving. Friend of the human race, since you've already entered, why hide? Come out. The blood-robed boy said nonchalantly as his voice boomed through the surroundings. Ling Zhao's eyes twitched. Had he been discovered? He could sense that the blood-robed boy was anything but simple. Even he felt threatened by him. However, Ling Xiao was extremely confident in his heaven-shrouding secret technique. He did not show himself just because of what the blood-robed boy had said. He continued to hide to one side. The blood-robed boy's words immediately caused the faces of his subordinates to change. They stood up in a single moment and surrounded the blood-robed boy. They looked around cautiously. Friend of the human race, I'm not tricking you. Do you really want the ancestor to personally invite you out? The blood-robed boy said nonchalantly. His voice had become colder. Ling Zhao's gaze flickered, but he remained motionless. He wondered just where he had slipped in. Could it be that he had used the words Ghost King to enter this place and had alerted the blood-robed boy? Swish. A resplendent streak of light suddenly bloomed in the air. It was like a river in the heavens, parting the ghostly qi in the air in a single moment. The resplendent light illuminated the gloomy surroundings. A black-robed young man strolled over. He radiated with surging sword intent, as if he was the emperor of the sword. He was so sharp that it was impossible to look at him directly. His expression was indifferent, but his eyes were like two divine swords, shining with scorching light. He arrived before the blood-red altar in an instant as he stepped on the sword light. Duguqiubai? Ling Zhao's body trembled as a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. Chapter 1598. Ling Xiao did not expect to see Duguqiubai here. Duguqiubai was a member of the Hero Alliance. Ling Xiao had seen him in the ancient Supreme City before and had killed countless experts from the Sky Demon clan with him. However, he did not expect Duguqiubai to be here. After all, the ancient Supreme City and Shangqing Ancient City were hundreds of millions of miles apart. Perhaps Duguqiubai had come to the Shangqing Celestial Domain. Duguqiubai looked a little younger, but his cultivation had reached the complete Divine King realm. He was only one step away from the half-saint realm. The sword intent around him was vast and unfathomable. It's really you? Duguqiubai, what do you want? You've been chasing me for almost a year. Do you really think I'm afraid of you? The blood-robed boy's face turned ugly when he saw Duguqiubai. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. Blood-robed ancestor, just accept your death. You might have been strong, but unfortunately, your cultivation hasn't fully recovered. It's your honor to die under my sword. Duguqiubai said calmly. His eyes were calm and deep, like the vast ocean. Duguqiubai, you're as arrogant as your name. However, since you want to die today, I'll fulfill your wish. Go kill him. The blood-robed boy's eyes were filled with murderous intent as he pointed at Duguqiubai. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The black-robed experts immediately unleashed their terrifying demonic qi and charged at Duguqiubai, without hesitation. Rumble. The heaven and earth shook as mysterious auras intertwined. A blood-red longsword appeared in each of the black-robed experts' hands. Their auras intertwined and formed a mysterious sword formation that charged at Duguqiubai. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He did not choose to help but continued to observe. These people were probably no match for Duguqiubai, but Ling Xiao felt that something was wrong. Could it be that the blood-robed boy still had some tricks up his sleeve? Whoosh. Duguqiubai's eyes opened as a blazing sword light pierced through the sky. An ancient sword appeared in his hand, and he slashed out. Instantly, billions of sword lights were formed. It was terrifying to the extreme and contained an incomparably vast amount of destructive power. Senior Duga's destruction sword Dao is getting stronger. Ling Xiao praised. He could feel the vast sword will contained within the sword. It was a power that could shake the heavens and earth, capable of destroying everything. It was much stronger than when he was in the war god realm. Dugu Qiubai must have had a great opportunity to hone his swordsmanship in the divine world. One could imagine how powerful Dugu Qiubai's life sword Wei was. Once he became a saint with destruction sword Wei and life sword Wei, he would definitely become a terrifying sword saint. The sky was filled with sword lights, causing the void to tremble violently. The black-robed experts were all from the Ghost Devil clan. They were extremely powerful and formed a sword formation that could even threaten a half-saint. However, they were overshadowed by Dugu Qiubai's sword. The sword formation was torn apart by the sword lights. The black-robed experts were like paper as they were slashed into a mist of blood by the sword lights. Although they were all perfected divine kings, the dozen or so ghost devils couldn't even withstand a single slash from Dugu Qiubai. Ling Xiao praised in his heart. He could feel the destructive power contained within Dugu Qiubai's sword. However, the blood-robed boy didn't seem to care about the dozen ghost devils being killed by Dugu Qiubai. Instead, his eyes flashed with crimson light. Boom! The crimson altar beneath him began to tremble violently. The flesh and blood of the dozen or so ghost demons that Dugu Qiubai had killed were attracted to the altar and flew toward him. The blood-red altar trembled, causing even the sky to tremble violently. Faintly, mysterious ghostly figures spread out from all directions. Dugu Qiubai, have a taste of the ghost dragon blood formation that I've prepared for you. The blood-robed boy sneered. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Boom! As blood-red runes spread out from his palm, the power of the entire blood-red altar exploded. Beams of blood-red divine light shot up into the sky and covered the sun. Roar! 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 A series of bloodthirsty dragon roars exploded between the heavens and the earth. The blood-red divine light turned into huge blood-red dragons that were tens of thousands of feet long. There were a total of 81 blood-red dragons, enveloping the entire chaotic demon ridge. In an instant, the entire area was covered by the ancient ominous formation. The ghost dragon blood formation was one of the most powerful formations of the ancient clan. The blood-robed boy chose to cultivate here for two reasons. 1. To break through to the next realm and recover his cultivation. 2. To lure Dugu Qiubai into the ghost dragon blood formation. Is this your trump card? Dugu Qiubai's expression was still very calm. His body was surrounded by dazzling sword light. He stood in the sky. Even though he was surrounded by beams of blood-red light, and the 81 blood-red dragons were extremely terrifying. Each of the blood-red dragons had the power of a half-saint. It was extremely terrifying. However, Dugu Qiubai's expression did not change at all. Ling Xiao could feel the terror of the ghost dragon blood formation. Those blood-red dragons seemed to be able to devour all life. Moreover, the surrounding sky was filled with an invisible poison that seemed to want to drill into one's primordial spirit. In an instant, the countless ancient trees and plants in the mountain range withered and were sucked dry of life. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He restrained his aura even more and used the sky-shrouding secret technique to observe the secrets of the ghost dragon blood formation. He wanted to find a flaw to help Dugu Qiubai break the formation. Of course not. Dugu Qiubai, there are many people who want you dead. The blood-robed boy sneered. Crack. In an instant, a dazzling door of light opened above the blood-red altar. Two figures appeared from the door of light. Both of them had powerful auras and were filled with faint holy light. It's Shuehua. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed sharply. One of the two figures was a black-robed young man with a strange saber on his back. His aura was extremely sharp. He was a one-revolution half-saint. It was Shuehua, whom Ling Xiao had met before. The other black-robed young man was slender and handsome. He had a pair of phoenix eyes that were extremely long and narrow. He exuded an extremely feminine aura. His cultivation was much stronger than Shuehua's. He had reached the two-revolution half-saint realm. Guchun? So you've colluded with the Ghost Demon clan. Chapter 1599. Duguchiobai, today is the day you die. As long as you die, no one will know that I colluded with the Ghost Devil clan. You can only blame yourself for standing in my way. So, I can only ask you to die. Gu Chen's eyes glinted as he said with a faint smile. I've never thought of competing with you for anything in the Hero Alliance. You're still the young Alliance Master. It's just that you're too narrow-minded. Duguchiobai said calmly. You don't want to compete with me? Haha. Duguchiobai, stop pretending. If you don't want to be the young Alliance Master of the Hero Alliance, why did Master want to make you the young Alliance Master? Why? You're just an outsider. Master wanted to take you as a disciple, but you refused. Why do you want to replace me? Gu Chen let out a hearty laugh as his expression became somewhat ferocious. It's not up to me to decide what the old man thinks. I've said before that I'll leave the Hero Alliance sooner or later. But now, it seems that you colluded with the Ghost Devil clan just to kill me. What a disappointment. Duguchiobai sighed softly. Humph. Duguchiobai, stop pretending. Why do Master like you, Junior Sister like you, and everyone else like you when you're in the Hero Alliance? Why do you want to take away my young Alliance Master? I want you dead, and no one can save you today. Gu Chen's eyes flashed with a crazy killing intent. His aura filled the air, and a terrifying saint light enveloped his entire body. Gu Chen was a cautious person. He knew Duguchiobai's incredible talent. So, even though he was a second revolution half-saint, he didn't think of killing Duguchiobai by himself. So not only did he contact Shuehua, but he also contacted the blood-robed boy to set up a trap in the chaotic demon ridge. Now Duguchiobai had indeed fallen into the trap. I didn't expect Senior Dugu to be caught in this power struggle. The Hero Alliance? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with a strange look. How could he not see through Gu Chen's thoughts? Gu Chen was a prideful man, but now, he was so envious of Duguchiobai that he didn't mind colluding with the ghost demons to kill Duguchiobai. One could see how much Duguchiobai had hurt Gu Chen. However, Ling Xiao and Duguchiobai's talents were terrifying. Duguchiobai was the only 10 extremities genius in the War God world's history other than Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao had the wordless heavenly book, but Duguchiobai had relied on his own talent in the sword Dao. Is that so? Could it be that you think you can kill me with a mere ghost dragon blood formation, and the few of you? Duguchiobai smirked with disdain. The sword will around him rose to the extreme. Behind him, endless chaotic light exploded. A black and a white sword will intertwined like a black and white dragon, turning into an extremely mysterious sword light. In an instant, the entire ghost dragon blood array began to shake violently. Duguchiobai, you're still so stubborn even when you're about to die? Brothers, let's kill him together. Gu Chen's eyes were filled with murderous intent, and his face was twisted. Saintly aura filled the air around him, and a furnace of fire seemed to have appeared in his palm. It poured down in an instant, turning into towering flames that shrouded Duguchiobai. This was Gu Chen's way of heaven and earth furnace. When cultivated to the extreme, he could turn into a furnace that contained all the true fires in the world. It was extremely terrifying. Gu Chen really hated Duguchiobai, so he used the killer move of the way of heaven and earth furnace. No matter how talented you are, you won't be able to survive the ancestors' ghost dragon blood formation. The blood-robed boy smiled sinisterly. Ghostly shadows spread around him. A shrill howl was heard, as if it could pierce through one's primordial spirit. He also rushed toward Duguchiobai. Boom. Shuehua, on the other hand, was surrounded by thunderbolts. He pulled out the strange saber on his back. Purple thunderbolts filled the air, exuding a horrifying aura of destruction. The vast saber light slashed toward Duguchiobai with unparalleled ferocity. Divine Firmament Destructive Lightning Dao. Shuehua also knew how terrifying Duguchiobai was from Gu Chen. Therefore, he also used the Divine Firmament Destructive Lightning Dao. Together with his ferocious sword intent, it seemed like it could shatter heaven and earth. In an instant, the three of them charged toward Duguchiobai. Roar. At the same time, the blood-red dragons around them roared and formed an extremely mysterious domain. It was as if the void had frozen. Countless streaks of blood-red light flowed and spread out like a blood-red curtain. They intertwined with Duguchiobai in the center. wanting to devour his life essence. Duguqiubai's eyes were still as calm as ever. He stood in the center of the ghost dragon blood formation in the face of the terrifying murderous intent that was as vast as the ocean. It seemed like he would be turned into dust at any time. However, he was as straight as a sword, exuding an indestructible aura. Buzz! A beam of sword light shone, becoming more and more dazzling in an instant. It was as if the sun had just been born, shining with boundless divine light. Duguqiubai had made his move. He simply stabbed out with his sword, but vigorous vitality burst forth. It contained an extremely vast sword intent. In an instant, it swept away all the flames in the sky and enveloped Gu Chen, Shuehua, and the blood-robed boy. "You're courting death." Gu Chen's eyes turned cold. He did not expect Duguqiubai to be so arrogant that he still wanted to fight the three of them at the same time. Flames spurted out from his palm, and a heaven and earth cauldron appeared. It suppressed Duguqiubai's sword. Clang! Sparks flew everywhere. The heaven and earth cauldron was like some kind of powerful weapon. It deflected Duguqiubai's sword, and came crashing down on him. At the same time, the flames in the sky intertwined into a huge net and enveloped Duguqiubai. Swoosh! Sword intent surged around Duguqiubai as he soared into the sky. The sword light pierced through the sky and the net of flames. Then it pierced through the heaven and earth cauldron as well. The terrifying sword will spread towards Gu Chen, annihilating all the flames in the sky. Then it exploded on Gu Chen's chest with a boom. Gu Chen groaned and could not help but take a step back. Duguqiubai's sword was too sharp. Even though he was wearing a powerful defensive armor, and his body had been tempered by the Nirvana tribulation, he was still injured by Duguqiubai's sword. Boom! Above Duguqiubai's head, wind and thunder rumbled. A blazing saber light wrapped in purple lightning slashed down from the sky with a monstrous aura. Chapter 1600. Just as Shuehua's blade was about to split Duguqiubai in half, Shuehua's eyes suddenly narrowed. Duguqiubai disappeared under his blade like a bubble. In the next moment, a sword light rose behind Shuehua, breaking through the heavy lightning and slashing down at him. Duguqiubai had appeared behind him without him noticing. "Open!" Shuehua roared and, without even thinking about it, pushed his Saint Qi, condensed a purple ball of world-extinguishing thunder in the palm of his hand, and shot it towards the incoming sword strike. Kacha! The dazzling sword light exploded and Shuehua was sent flying. The ball of lightning in his hand turned into a rain of light. His palm had been sliced off by Duguqiubai's sword. Whoosh! Duguqiubai took a step forward, as if he was not affected by the bloody light at all. He swung his sword at Shuehua's head, intending to kill him right there and then. At that moment, blood-red phantoms exploded around Duguqiubai, emitting sharp whistling sounds as they drilled into his knowledge sea between his eyebrows. The blood-robed boy appeared behind Duguqiubai, and silently slammed his palm on Duguqiubai's back. Boom! A bloody light exploded. The blood-robed boy's face was filled with satisfaction as he disappeared into the void in an instant. Duguqiubai could not help but take a few steps back. His expression turned serious as he felt the bloody qi madly rushing into his body, trying to devour his vitality. Even though he had sealed all the pores on his body, and unleashed a powerful sword intent to block the bloody energy around him, the blood-robed boy's method was very strange. He was still hit. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He felt that the ghost dragon blood array had undergone a mysterious change. The faces of the bloody dragons turned into the blood-robed boy, and intertwined with each other to form a mysterious domain. It exuded an extremely powerful spatial fluctuation, as it pressed down on Duguqiubai. At the same time, the blood-robed boy shuttled through the ghost dragon blood formation as if he could teleport. He kept on launching sneak attacks on Duguqiubai. It was clear that the blood-robed boy knew how powerful Duguqiubai's swordsmanship was, which was why he never faced him head-on. He would often sneak attack and then retreat. He was trying to wear down Duguqiubai's strength. Rumble! The blood-red energy spread out silently. It was formless and invisible, as if no one had noticed it at all. Not only did it move toward Duguqiubai, but some of it also enveloped Gu Chen and Shuehua, as if it was stealing their vitality. This blood-robed boy is up to no good. He even schemed against Shuehua and Guchen. It's funny that these two fellows want to collude with the Ghost Devil clan to deal with Duguqiubai. I'm afraid they will die even if they kill Duguqiubai. Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. With a flash, he moved toward the depths of the Ghost Dragon Blood Formation silently. Ling Xiao had almost finished studying the Ghost Dragon Blood Formation, and found its weakness. It was the Blood Red Altar. As long as he could destroy the altar, the Ghost Dragon Blood Formation would collapse on its own. Whoosh! A dazzling sword light shot across the sky. It contained a vast amount of destructive power, and was extremely sharp. It broke through the layers of lightning, and cut off one of Shuehua's arms. Duguqiubai's eyes became sharper and sharper. While he was wary of the blood-robed boy's sneak attacks, he attacked Guchen and Shuehua fiercely. He's only at the Great Divine King realm. Yet he has such terrifying battle prowess. I must kill him today. Guchen's eyes were filled with fear, and his attacks became even more ruthless. The power of the Saint Wei around him intertwined, turning into transparent flames that spread toward Duguqiubai. Although he was a second revolution half-saint, he still felt like he had no chance of winning against Duguqiubai. Boom! Sword chi filled the sky, causing the surrounding sky to tremble violently. Light flashed through Duguqiubai's eyes. The Destruction Sword Wei and Life Sword Wei erupted at the same time. They turned into two intertwining sword lights, one black and one white. They directly shot toward Shuehua and Guchen. Shuehua and Guchen's faces changed drastically. They could sense a fatal threat from the attack. They unleashed their strongest attacks at the same time, sending a cauldron of the world and a wave of purple lightning towards Duguqiubai. At the same time, the two of them quickly retreated. Crack! The black and white sword light seemed to contain the most original power of the Way of the Sword. It could destroy everything. In an instant, it destroyed the heaven and earth furnace and the purple lightning of destruction. Then it slashed Shuehua and Guchen. A divine light barrier erupted from their bodies, and then it instantly exploded. The two of them were sent flying, and blood spurted from their mouths. Their auras also became incomparably weak. If it weren't for the defensive treasures on their bodies, they would have been killed by this sword strike. At that moment, the blood-robed boy seemed to have discovered Duguqiubai's weakness. Streaks of blood-red light suddenly erupted, weaving into a huge blood-red net that instantly wrapped around Duguqiubai's body. The blood-robed boy pounced forward. Ghostly shadows filled the air as blood-red chi surged, trying to invade Duguqiubai's body. Something's not right. The blood-robed boy's body suddenly trembled. He felt that although Duguqiubai had a boundless life force, there were no ripples of origin spirit at all. Instead, he was filled with terrifying destructive power. The blood-robed boy's heart skipped a beat. He immediately wanted to dissipate without thinking. Boom! Duguqiubai's body suddenly exploded like a dazzling sun, spewing out billions of sword lights. The sword lights were extremely sharp. They instantly pierced through the blood-robed boy's body, leaving behind huge bloody holes. He was then turned into a bloody mist. Ah! Damn it! The blood-robed boy's exasperated voice rang out in the air. However, his body instantly disappeared and reappeared in the distance. Duguqiubai, you deserve to die. In this ghost dragon blood formation, I am immortal. No one can kill me. The blood-robed boy's eyes darkened as he stared at Duguqiubai. Duguqiubai's figure appeared. The sword and tint around him weakened a little, but his eyes became even more dazzling. In order to trick the blood-robed boy earlier, he did not hesitate to use half of his power as bait to form a destructive sword. Unfortunately, the blood-robed boy still managed to escape in the end. Rumble. However, as soon as the blood-robed boy finished speaking, the blood-red light that filled the sky seemed to explode. The blood-red dragons also slowly dissipated. The ghost dragon blood formation began to disintegrate at a speed visible to the naked eye. Immortal? What if the ghost dragon blood formation is gone? Chapter 1601. Rumble. The blood chi in the air dissipated. Ling Xiao walked out of the void with a calm look in his eyes. Where he stood was where the blood-red altar used to be. However, the altar had already disappeared. It was because of the altar's disappearance that the ghost dragon blood formation had collapsed. Who are you? Where did the altar go? The blood-robed boy stared at Ling Xiao in disbelief. Of course it went to where it should go. Ling Xiao smiled faintly with a calm look in his eyes. The blood-colored altar contained a vast amount of blood-colored energy, which was very attractive to the wordless heavenly book. Therefore, Ling Xiao used the wordless heavenly book to devour the blood-colored altar. Before the blood-robed boy could even react, the blood-colored altar had already disappeared. Long Outyan. Shui Hua's body trembled as a look of extreme shock appeared in his eyes. He never thought that he would see Ling Xiao here. Senior brother Shui, long time no see. You must be here to kill me, right? Since I'm here, you won't have to look for me. Why don't we settle this here? Ling Xiao said faintly with a sharp look in his eyes. Long Outyan, long time no see. Duguqiubai was slightly surprised as well. The ghost dragon blood formation had indeed caused him a lot of trouble. Moreover, it had made the blood-robed boy almost immortal. If Ling Xiao had not destroyed the ghost dragon blood formation, the battle would have been very difficult. Senior Dugu, what a coincidence. That Gu Chen wants to kill you, and this senior brother Shui wants to kill me. Why don't we work together and send them off? Colluding with the ghost demon clan, they really don't know what's good for them. Ling Xiao smiled at Duguqiubai. No problem. They all deserve to die. Duguqiubai nodded as the sword radiance in his eyes burned brightly. Human ant, you think too highly of yourself. So what if you destroy the ghost dragon blood formation with your mere early divine king cultivation? You still have to die. The blood-robed boy's face darkened as his eyes were filled with cold killing intent. You talk too much. Let's see who lives and who dies with our fists. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His eyes shone brightly as he threw a punch at the blood-robed child. Crack! Blazing lightning enveloped Ling Xiao's fist, forming a chaotic fist print. It was extremely ferocious as it charged towards the blood-robed boy. Die brat! The blood-robed child's eyes were extremely red. He turned into a blood-red shadow and lunged at Ling Xiao. His silhouette was like a ghost. He wanted to avoid Ling Xiao's punch and directly absorb the essence of Ling Xiao's flesh and blood. He could feel the strength of Ling Xiao's flesh and blood. It was an unimaginable temptation to him. Boom! However, Ling Xiao's fist immediately exploded in the air. Bolts of lightning shot up, containing the most terrifying destructive power. A mysterious figure seemed to appear, slamming a palm towards the boy. The blood-red light that filled the sky exploded, and the blood-robed boy's afterimages were instantly reduced to dust. However, he was already in front of Ling Xiao. His eyes were filled with coldness, and he was about to pounce into Ling Xiao's body. Rumble! However, extremely scorching lightning suddenly surged out from Ling Xiao's body. The heaven-devouring flames extended over as well. The lightning and flames fused together, forming an extremely terrifying destructive power. The blood-robed child was directly struck by the lightning and flames. He was reduced to a bloody mist in a single instance. He produced a sharp shriek as he tried to flee. Stay here! Killing intent shone in Ling Xiao's eyes. He threw a punch, and an extremely powerful fist intent erupted. It was like a supreme emperor that could sweep through the 9 heavens. It was extremely vicious. The bloody mist churned. It wanted to condense, but it exploded again in a single instance. Swish! Only a tiny part of the mist was not destroyed. It escaped, turning back into the blood-robed child. However, he seemed much weaker now. Human ant, you should die. The blood-robed child's face was extremely ugly. He even found it rather difficult to believe. The early God King brat's battle prowess was just too terrifying. Moreover, his body was extremely tough, basically the leakless true body. His blood-red energy was unable to affect Ling Xiao at all. Swish! Swish! On the other side, Shui Hua and Gu Chen were coughing out blood continuously. They tried their best to hold on under Duguqiubai's unparalleled sword intent, but they began to retreat as if they would be killed by Duguqiubai at any time. A sliver of fear and retreating appeared within them. Duguqiubai and Long Outyin were too terrifying. They actually managed to break through such a trap. At this moment, they were no longer thinking about how to kill the two of them. They were only thinking about how to escape and save their lives. Ling Xiao seemed to have seen through their thoughts. His hand shone resplendently, and a mysterious light enveloped the entire mountain range. It turned into a powerful barrier that shone with the light of the Saint Wei's prison talisman. This was a treasure that Ling Xiao had obtained from the twin killers of Mabe. Although it was not a complete saint talisman, Shuehua, Gu Chun, and the blood-robed child could not escape immediately. They were like turtles in a jar. Their faces immediately became extremely ugly. Kill! Ling Xiao's eyes were extremely sharp. His Qilin arm was filled with a mysterious purple aura that contained an extremely violent power. He threw a terrifying punch at the blood-robed child. Rumble! The vast fist intent enveloped the entire area. It was as if the punch was everywhere and wanted to turn everything into dust. The blood-robed child's face changed drastically. He could feel the terrifying power contained in the punch. It was not something he could withstand. He suddenly screamed and spat out a mouthful of blood. His figure became extremely blurry. Heavenly Ghost's sacred technique. A blood-red fist mark rose from behind him. It contained an ancient and mysterious fluctuation as it went toward Ling Xiao. Boom! The blood-robed child was forced into a corner. The power of this punch was extremely terrifying, and it directly exploded in the void. Blood-colored divine light spread out in all directions, causing cracks to appear in the sky. Ling Xiao was also forced back. However, the blood-robed child's figure had become extremely blurry. It was as if he would disappear into the void at any time. His face was extremely ugly, and there was even a hint of fear. Puff! Puff! On the other side, Dugu Qiubai's heaven-piercing sword light split the world. It was eternal and contained an indestructible sharpness. It also destroyed Gu Chun and Shuehua's bodies. The blazing sword light condensed in the void like a vast sword formation. It enveloped Gu Chun and Shuehua's souls. Their faces changed drastically, and they did not dare to move at all. As long as that sword light fell, their souls would instantly scatter. I admit defeat, the blood-robed child said through gritted teeth. His eyes were filled with reluctance. Chapter 1602. Admit defeat? Humans and demons walk different paths. We are mortal enemies. Do you think we will let you go just because you admit defeat? Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His eyes were blazing with sharpness. The engraving talisman formed a huge barrier that enveloped the entire chaotic demon ridge. It contained an extremely powerful saint path aura to prevent them from escaping. Although the blood-robed boy appeared and disappeared unpredictably, without the ghost dragon blood array, and his escape route was cut off, he actually admitted defeat. Don't be in a hurry to reject me. I'm just a nobody. Even if you kill me, it won't do you any good. However, if you let me go, I'll tell you something. It's about the ancient saint's inheritance. The blood-robed boy gritted his teeth. The ancient saint's inheritance? Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai's eyes flashed. The mythical space was an ancient battlefield. Many experts had fallen here, but many people had also found great opportunities here. It wasn't as if no one had obtained the ancient saint's inheritance. The inheritance of a saint did sound very tempting. That's right. I see that you cultivate the Thunder Dao, right? That ancient saint is a Thunder Dao saint. Not only will he have the strongest Thunder Dao saint technique, but he will also have a powerful Thunder Dao saint treasure. If you let me go, you can obtain the inheritance of an ancient saint. Why not? The blood-robed boy smiled faintly. His voice was filled with temptation. All right. Tell me the information about the ancient saint's inheritance, and I'll spare your life. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His expression was very calm. You have to swear a great heart demon oath that you will let me leave safely, and not pursue me. Otherwise, don't even think about getting any information about the ancient saint's inheritance. The blood-robed boy saw that Ling Xiao was a little tempted. Only then did he relax slightly and say coldly, All right, I'll swear a great heart demon oath now. Ling Xiao said without any hesitation. The blood-robed boy was already distracted by Ling Xiao, and did not notice a weak ray of light appearing behind him in an instant. Then it exploded. Rumble. Boom. Heaven and earth trembled. It was a mysterious figure shrouded in dazzling lightning. It launched a destructive attack at the blood-robed boy. Ah. Despicable human, You went back on your word. The blood-robed boy's face changed drastically. By the time he sensed the danger, it was already too late to dodge. The figure slammed into his body, and lightning filled the sky, tearing his body to pieces. However, within the blood-red light, the boy's soul was wrapped up by a strange, black, ghostly aura. He frantically fled, wanting to break out of the barrier. His face was filled with incomparably twisted and furious expression as he roared madly. Don't think that you can hide your little tricks from me. Today you will definitely die. Even if you have the heritage of an ancient sage, I'll still search your soul after I capture you. Ling Xiao sneered. Killing intent surged from his eyes as he threw a punch at the boy. He had already noticed earlier that the boy had used the heritage of an ancient sage to attract his attention. In reality, he was using some kind of secret technique to break out of the barrier and escape. Ling Xiao played along. He used the heaven-shrouding secret technique and the Lightning Emperor technique to condense a clone of the Lightning Emperor. He silently launched a fatal attack at the boy. Not only did he completely destroy the boy's secret technique, but he also heavily injured him. Damned human! I curse you! I curse you to die a horrible death for all of your lifetimes. The blood-robed child's eyes were filled with resentment as he roared at Ling Xiao. At the same time, ghostly aura rose around him as a terrifying power erupted. Seeing that there was no hope for him to escape, he actually wanted to self-destruct his soul. However, Ling Xiao was already prepared. Boom! Golden light poured out of Ling Xiao's palm like a divine chain of order. It immediately sealed up the boy's soul. It even contained a sliver of the wordless heaven tome's power, directly causing the boy to stiffen. He was unable to move. His eyes were filled with terror as he was completely devoured by Ling Xiao in an instant. It was not difficult for Ling Xiao to refine a mere soul with the heaven-devouring secret technique, not to mention the power of the wordless heaven tome. In the blink of an eye, the boy completely disappeared from the sky. His soul had dispersed. Gu Chun and Xue Hua both shivered as their eyes were filled with extreme fear. Dugu Qiubai, if you dare to kill me, Master won't let you go, Gu Chun said fiercely. Although his face was filled with anger and viciousness, there was still a sliver of unconcealable fear in his eyes. He knew that Dugu Qiubai was merciless, so he immediately used his master to pressure Dugu Qiubai. Dugu Qiubai was greatly indebted to his master, so he believed that Dugu Qiubai would be cautious even if he attacked. He does like you a lot. If I kill you, he might be unhappy, Dugu Qiubai muttered to himself as if he was hesitating. Seeing Dugu Qiubai's hesitation, Gu Chun was overjoyed. He quickly said, Dugu Qiubai, as long as you let me go, I'll pretend that nothing happened today. You'll be the young alliance master from now on. I'm willing to support you. It's not impossible for the Hero Alliance to become the 13th immortal sanctuary in the future. Although Gu Chun pretended to be sincere, he was determined to kill Dugu Qiubai as long as he could escape alive today. Even if he had to send out high-level half-saints to kill Dugu Qiubai to vent his anger. Puff. However, a dazzling sword light suddenly bloomed. It was like the first light of dawn, containing the majestic power of growth. Flowing light drizzled and crushed Gu Chun's soul. He might not be happy, but you still have to die, Dugu Qiubai said indifferently as he sheathed his sword. He did not even look at Gu Chun. It was as if he had casually crushed an ant. His eyes were extremely calm. Senior Dugu is decisive. I admire you, Ling Xiao said with a smile. He's from the War God Shrine. I'll leave him to you. Dugu Qiubai glanced at Xue Hua and said indifferently. In the blink of an eye, the blood-robed boy and Gu Chun were both dead. Only Xue Hua was left. Xue Hua shuddered and immediately knelt down in front of Ling Xiao. He begged loudly. Junior brother Long, I was wrong. I was wrong. I shouldn't have been blinded by lard. Junior brother Long, you're a genius. I was foolish. As long as you let me go, I promise that I won't be your enemy in the future. I'll follow your lead. Xue Hua was completely terrified. His body was trembling violently. Those who collude with the demon race will be killed without mercy. Chapter 1603. Xue Hua's primordial spirit was devoured by Ling Xiao. After being refined, The majestic primordial spirit was turned into the purest energy, which was then refined and absorbed by Ling Xiao. The memories contained in Shuehua's primordial spirit were also displayed to Ling Xiao. Although Ling Xiao could guess who ordered Shuehua to kill him, he still wanted to verify it through Shuehua's primordial spirit. It's Tang Yao. A sharp light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. So it was actually Tang Yao who wanted to avenge Tang Fei and ordered Shuehua to kill him. Wang Chuan and the other three from before were Shuehua's spies, used to monitor Ling Xiao and provide him with information. Gu Chen was secretly contacted by Shuehua to ensure that nothing went wrong. As the young alliance master of the Hero Alliance, Gu Chen hated Dugu Qiubai to the core, so he wanted Shuehua to help him deal with Dugu Qiubai. The two of them hit it off and immediately colluded. Ling Xiao understood the cause and effect of the matter, and his eyes became extremely cold. Tang Yao was a true disciple of the Thunder Hall with the cultivation of a 3-revolution half-saint. Most importantly, she was rumored to be Zhan Tianqing's woman, so her status in the Thunder Hall was very high. This woman made Ling Xiao want to kill her. In fact, Tang Fei asked for it. Ling Xiao only taught him a lesson, but this woman was narrow-minded and wanted to kill him. At the same time, Ling Xiao also discovered another thing from Shuehua's memories. Zhan Tianqing is also in the mythical space? And he found a calamity land? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and his heart skipped a beat. According to Shuehua's memories, Zhan Tianqing had been cultivating in seclusion all these years, cultivating the indestructible divine technique. He wanted to condense the calamity seed and control the flipping sky seal. This time, Zhan Tianqing found an ancient relic in the mythical space, which was called the Calamity Land. It should contain majestic calamity chi, and he wanted to use it to condense the calamity seed. The Calamity Land, maybe I can get involved. Ling Xiao couldn't help but whisper to himself. The blood-robed child's soul had been refined by Ling Xiao as well. However, the blood-robed child was extremely decisive. Most of his memories had been wiped away, so only a small portion could be vaguely recognized. The ancient saint's legacy that the blood-robed boy spoke of really did exist. However, the blood-robed boy was unable to open the cave residence containing the ancient saint's legacy. Instead, he was heavily injured by the saintly way formation, so he was unable to obtain anything. Interesting. The ancient sage's inheritance is also in the land of calamity? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. He suddenly realized that the ancient saint's cave dwelling in the blood-robed boy's memories was in the catastrophe land where Zhan Tianqing was. What a coincidence. Ling Xiao, looks like you've joined the War God Temple. Congratulations. Dugu Qiubai smiled at Ling Xiao. Senior Dugu, I didn't expect you to be the center of attention wherever you go. You've overshadowed everything else and even made Gu Chen jealous and want to kill you. Ling Xiao also joked with a smile. Ling Xiao, there's no need to call me senior. Let's talk as equals. This time, I entered the mythical space not only to hunt down the blood-robed patriarch, but more importantly, I learned that there's an ancient relic here. It might contain great opportunities, so I'm going to explore it. Why don't we go together? Dugu Qiubai smiled. Then I'll shamelessly call you Big Brother Dugu. Haha. Where's the ancient relic you mentioned? Ling Xiao was also a person who didn't care about trifles, so he laughed heartily. Look, it's in Divine Cloud Valley, 300,000 miles from here. Dugu Qiubai said as he took out an ancient map and pointed at a location on it. Divine Cloud Valley? What a coincidence. Big Brother Dugu, I'm afraid you've never imagined that the ancient saint's legacy that the blood-robed boy spoke of is in Divine Cloud Valley. Moreover, a disciple of the War God Temple should be there as well. This time it was Ling Xiao's turn to be surprised. He told Dugu Qiubai about the information he obtained from the memories of Shuehua and the blood-robed boy. He didn't expect that the Divine Cloud Valley that Dugu Qiubai mentioned was the ominous calamity land where Zhan Tianqing was. It was also the location of the ancient saint's legacy that the blood-robed boy spoke of. Oh, if that's the case, there's no time to lose. Let's set off immediately. Perhaps we can find something in Divine Cloud Valley. Dugu Qiubai's eyes flashed as he made a prompt decision. All right. Ling Xiao nodded. The two of them leaped into the sky, turned into two divine rainbows, and shot in the direction of Divine Cloud Valley. Divine Cloud Valley was a dangerous place. It was also a relic of the ancient war. It was shrouded in endless thunderbolts all year round, like a vast sea of lightning. The mountains, rocks, and plants in Divine Cloud Valley were tainted with the power of thunderbolts and were extremely sturdy. Divine Cloud Valley was extremely dangerous. Other than some thunder technique martial artists who might choose to enter Divine Cloud Valley to refine their martial arts and physique, most of them would stay in the periphery of Divine Cloud Valley. Legend had it that the depths of Divine Cloud Valley contained the power of thunder technique origin, which was close to the power of a saint. Even a half-saint expert would die without a doubt. Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai soon arrived at Divine Cloud Valley. Rumble. Dark clouds rolled and lightning flashed. It was as if there were bolts of lightning in the distant sky, covering the vast land and forming a world of thunder. Duguqiubai looked at the blazing world of thunder and said to Ling Xiao, "The ancient relic is in the center of Divine Cloud Valley. However, Divine Cloud Valley is fraught with danger, and there are also powerful thunder spirits. We still have to be careful." Thunder spirits? Ling Xiao's eyes lit up. Thunder spirits were creatures condensed from thunderbolts. They could control the power of thunder technique origin, and were extremely powerful. Some thunder spirits even had spiritual intelligence comparable to humans. These thunder spirits were similar to the congenital spirit essences that Ling Xiao had obtained before. They could be used as weapon spirits. However, thunder spirits were generally used as weapon spirits of thunder attribute weapons, unlike congenital spirit essences, which had almost no restrictions. Moreover, Ling Xiao's Thunder Emperor skill would definitely improve by leaps and bounds if he could refine a few thunder spirits and extract the power of thunder technique origin from them. That's right. The thunder spirits here are extremely powerful. It is said that there is a thunder spirit king who is comparable to a high-level half-saint. Although the thunder spirit king has never appeared, he should not be underestimated. Duguqiubai said slowly. Then he withdrew his aura in an instant, as if he had become one with the surrounding void. Thunder Spirit King? In this Divine Cloud Valley, if there really is a Thunder Spirit King, I'm afraid his battle strength will increase exponentially. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of seriousness. He became more cautious. He also used the Heaven Shrouding secret skill and sneaked into Divine Cloud Valley with Duguqiubai. Chapter 1604. Not long after Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai entered the Divine Cloud Valley, the void fluctuated violently. A bright light bloomed, and an ancient void portal appeared. A group of powerful figures stepped out from it. They were all wearing purple dragon robes. Their faces were dignified and noble, and their bodies were filled with purple light. The men were valiant, and the women were graceful and dignified. The leader was a young man in a golden dragon robe. His long hair draped over his shoulders, and his eyes were like the sun and moon. He exuded a faint holy path aura. He was a First Revolution half-saint. Is this the Divine Cloud Valley? Sure enough, it contains an incomparably rich Thunder Dao origin energy. I've heard that not only is there a powerful thunder spirit here, there are also many Thunder Dao heavenly treasures. If we can temper our cultivation here, we will definitely be able to quickly reach the perfection stage of the Thunder King divine art. A purple-robed man said excitedly. That's right. Most importantly, if Senior Brother Huang is able to capture a few lightning spirits, then he'll be able to condense the Lightning Emperor's true body and cultivate the Lightning Emperor technique to an extremely high level. At that time, he'll even be able to fight a mid-rank half-saint with his Lightning Emperor's true body. A purple-robed woman said. She looked at the young man in the golden dragon robe with admiration. Huang Wuji, the new true disciple of the 9 imperial gates. He was the son of a supreme elder, and his talent was amazing. He was promoted to a First Revolution half-saint before the age of 100. He was known to have the potential to become a saint in the future. This time, he brought some inner disciples of the 9 imperial gates into the mythical space to train. Their goal was the Divine Cloud Valley. They wanted to use the Thunder Principle origin energy in the Divine Cloud Valley to cultivate the Thunder Emperor technique. The Divine Cloud Valley is fraught with danger, and the lightning spirits are extremely ferocious. However, their bodies contain an incomparably majestic lightning origin energy, which is of great benefit to your cultivation. You guys set up the 9 Thunder King formation. I will guard you in the middle. We will hunt the thunder spirits. Huang Wuji said indifferently. His voice was filled with unquestionable determination. Yes, the disciples of the 9 Imperial Gates were very excited. They set up the 9 Thunder King formation according to Huang Wuji's instructions and headed towards the Divine Cloud Valley. Rumble. Dazzling lightning burst forth, and their auras intertwined. In an instant, the light was dazzling, and a purple lightning dragon tens of thousands of meters long rose up. Moreover, it was surrounded by 9 layers of divine light, and it emitted a power fluctuation that could crush everything. This was the 9-fold Thunder King array. Coupled with their trust in Huang Wuji, they were full of anticipation for the trip to Divine Cloud Valley. They even automatically ignored some of the dangers. Lightning blazed in Divine Cloud Valley as bolts of divine lightning streaked across the sky. They were as thick as mountains and contained extremely terrifying power fluctuations. Roar! The purple dragon roared, causing the earth to tremble. The divine lightning in the sky was swallowed by the dragon and turned into the most majestic energy of the Tao of Thunder. It poured into the disciples of the Imperial Obelisk. Divine light gushed out from their bodies as they inhaled and exhaled a vast amount of lightning energy. Their auras began to skyrocket, and their strength became increasingly powerful. With the 9-layered lightning dragon formation, and senior brother Huang overseeing it, even a lightning spirit would die for sure. The disciples of the 9-layered Imperial Gates exclaimed excitedly. Huang Wuji's eyes revealed a hint of pride. Boom! At this moment, the void trembled slightly, and a green lightning appeared. It looked like a lightning in the shape of a human, and it emitted a powerful spiritual fluctuation. It's a green lightning spirit? Catch it! Everyone's eyes revealed a hint of excitement. Immediately, they controlled the 9-fold Thunder Dragon formation and pounced towards the green lightning spirit. The green lightning spirit seemed to have an extremely powerful spiritual nature. With a flash of light, it instantly moved tens of thousands of meters away. It was extremely fast, and it directly avoided the attack of the purple lightning dragon. A mere green lightning spirit dares to be so presumptuous? A sharp light flashed in Huang Wuji's eyes, and he instantly soared into the sky from the 9-fold Thunder Dragon formation. He reached out his hand to grab the green lightning spirit. Mysterious runes bloomed in his palm, as if forming a lightning barrier. The green lightning spirit trembled slightly, as if it was extremely afraid. It wanted to escape, but it was instantly caught in Huang Wuji's palm. Rumble! In the palm of Huang Wuji's hand, the purple rune instantly swallowed the cyan thunder soul, and a vast and pure thunder energy poured into Huang Wuji's body. Suddenly, the divine light around him blazed, and his aura became increasingly strong. There was even a mysterious phantom that was about to appear behind him. That's the Lightning Emperor's shadow? It seems that as long as there are enough lightning spirits, senior brother Huang can condense the Lightning Emperor's true body. Many disciples of the 9-fold Imperial Obelisk revealed a look of envy and awe. Such a powerful thunder spirit was actually easily caught by Huang Wuji. In Divine Cloud Valley, the green lightning spirit was the lowest level, and its cultivation was comparable to the Divine King realm. But in Divine Cloud Valley, the green lightning spirit had the geographical advantage. Even an ordinary half-saint would find it difficult to catch it. Above the green lightning spirit, there were silver lightning spirits, golden lightning spirits, and even white lightning spirits. They were extremely terrifying. The legendary Lightning Spirit King was a white lightning spirit. Its power was monstrous, and even high-level half-saints were no match for it. Let's go, Huang Wuji said in high spirits. He led the disciples of the 9-fold Imperial Obelisk into the depths of Divine Cloud Valley. There's actually someone who's recklessly borrowing the Thunder Tao origin energy here to cultivate? Aren't they afraid of alerting a large number of lightning spirits? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He could sense the power of a powerful matrix in the distance. There were also powerful figures devouring the lightning power in Divine Cloud Valley. He and Duguqiubai concealed their aura, and carefully moved into the depths of Divine Cloud Valley. They avoided the lightning spirits, even if they encountered one. Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai wanted to find the ancient ruins first, so they did not have any intention of taking the lightning spirits. Although Divine Cloud Valley is dangerous, it will still attract some people who cultivate lightning Dao martial arts. Ignore them. The ancient ruins is in the middle of the valley. Dugu Qiubai's eyes flashed as he said slowly. Divine Cloud Valley was very vast, as if it contained a small world. Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai flew for tens of thousands of miles. The lightning here was blazing like a sea of lightning, exuding a majestic destructive power. The lightning in front of them was blazing like a surging sea. Several mountains pierced the sky, surrounded by blazing divine light. Chapter 1605. Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai came to the depths of Divine Cloud Valley. The lightning here was incomparably blazing, containing a terrifying destructive power. In the vast sea of lightning, green, silver, and golden lightning spirits wandered, emitting a majestic lightning Dao origin energy. What powerful thunder spirits! Ling Xiao's eyes were solemn. The thunder spirits were like a hornet's nest. If anyone dared to attack the thunder spirits here, even a high-level half-saint would be killed instantly. Let's be careful and avoid the thunder spirits. There should be an ancient thunder principle formation in front of us. As long as we can break that formation, we should be able to enter the relic. Dugu Qiubai's eyes flashed as he pointed ahead. In front of Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai was a strange stone forest. Every stone reached into the clouds as if they could pierce through the sky. They looked very messy, without any order at all, but they were intertwined with terrifying lightning. There was a faint ripple of a powerful formation in the air. This formation is not simple. Even the blood-robed boy was stopped. Ling Xiao nodded. The stone forest intertwined to form a powerful formation. It was the terrifying formation that had stopped the blood-robed boy. Ling Xiao could sense that this broken formation was extremely ancient. It contained a vast amount of thunder origin energy, which intertwined with each other. The baleful qi was like an ocean, extremely terrifying. These thunder spirits are troublesome, Dugu Qiubai said slowly. The thunder spirits had been gathering around the formation. If Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai chose to break the formation, they would definitely alarm the thunder spirits. Brother Dugu, I should be able to break this formation, but I need you to help me lure these thunder spirits away. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he said slowly. This formation should have been a powerful saint path formation. However, after countless years, it was still somewhat broken despite being nourished by the endless lightning in Divine Cloud Valley. Ling Xiao's sky-devouring secret technique was able to devour everything. It could even devour a formation. If it was a complete formation with its own great Dao law, Ling Xiao would not be able to do anything about it. However, it was just a broken formation, and it could not stop Ling Xiao. You want to lure these lightning spirits away? Maybe I can give it a try, but I shouldn't be able to hold on for too long. At most 15 minutes. Dugu Qiubai's eyes glinted as he nodded. If it had been someone else, they might have had some misgivings. After all, those thunder spirits were very powerful, especially those silver and golden thunder spirits, which were comparable to powerful half-saints. Their power was multiplied in Divine Cloud Valley. However, Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai trusted each other, so even if it was something so dangerous, Dugu Qiubai agreed without hesitation. 15 minutes? That was enough. Big brother Dugu, you can return here in a quarter of an hour. I will bring you into the broken array, and give these lightning spirits a big gift. Ling Xiao said with a smile. His eyes were full of confidence. All right. Dugu Qiubai nodded. With a flash, he turned into a faint beam of light and shot into the distance. Ling Xiao also took a deep breath, his gaze turning solemn. Rumble. Not long after, the thunder sea in the distance began to boil. A vast and majestic sword essence erupted, sweeping across the sky and exuding exuberant vitality. This was Dugu Qiubai's life sword way, which contained the will of life. The vigorous life force permeated the entire Divine Cloud Valley, causing the thunder spirits to tremble. Each and every one of them went completely crazy. turning into green, silver, and golden bolts of lightning, rushing madly into the distance. In an instant, there were no more lightning spirits in the broken array in front of Ling Xiao. Good chance. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up. Without any hesitation, he pounced on the broken array in front of him. Heaven-devouring secret skill, devour. A vast and majestic aura erupted from Ling Xiao's body. His body bloomed with dazzling golden light, which turned into a vast devouring vortex. Behind him, the heaven-devouring divine sea appeared and surged violently. Endless divine power rose and turned into divine chains of order. In an instant, it enveloped the entire stone forest. Crack. The broken array seemed to have sensed the intruder and instantly erupted. Terrifying bolts of lightning rose up, and terrifying lightning creatures emerged from the stone forest. They were like ancient divine beasts, roaring as they charged towards Ling Xiao. At the same time, dazzling Saint Path runes flew out. Like a vast immortal light, they were about to obliterate all life. Not to mention divine kings. Even a half-saint would not be able to withstand such terrifying power. Even the broken array was not something that ordinary people could withstand. Rumble. However, the heaven-devouring divine sea was like a vast and mysterious world under Ling Xiao's control. It engulfed all the Saint Path runes and began to devour and refine them. Boundless Saint Path power and extremely pure lightning energy surged into Ling Xiao's body at this moment. This was also the first time Ling Xiao had fully activated the heaven-devouring secret skill since he entered the divine world. As he devoured, the heaven-devouring divine sea became more and more solid, as if an ancient sea was about to emerge. Ling Xiao's aura began to soar. In an instant, he broke through the early Divine King realm and reached the mid-Divine King realm. However, Ling Xiao's main focus was to refine the broken array. Hence, he did not have time to cultivate. The reason why he could break through to the mid-Divine King realm was that his cultivation had reached the mid-Divine King realm naturally. The energy of the broken array was being absorbed and refined by the wordless heavenly book. Ling Xiao had already sensed that the wordless heavenly book was severely damaged. The energy it needed was of a very high level. The Saint Path energy and the pure lightning origin energy in the broken array could barely satisfy its needs. As Ling Xiao devoured the runes, the power of the broken array weakened rapidly. The lightning gradually dimmed. Ling Xiao could vaguely see an ancient palace in the intertwining lightning. It was emitting a vast wave of Saint Path energy. This broken array is connected to the power of the palace. It's impossible to completely devour the energy of the broken array. However, the broken array has been weakened. It's enough for me and Brother Dugu to force our way in. It's a great gift for the lightning spirits. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up as he smiled faintly. He could feel that the energy of the broken array that he had devoured was getting stronger, as it continued to absorb the Saint Path energy from the ancient palace. Swoosh! At this moment, Duguqiubai turned into a dazzling sword light. He split the lightning in half and shot towards Ling Xiao from afar. Behind Duguqiubai were tens of thousands of lightning spirits. They were like thousands of soldiers and horses galloping. They emitted a terrifying aura that made Ling Xiao's scalp tingle. Chapter 1606. Brother Dugu, over here. Ling Xiao shouted. Then terrifying divine power burst out from his body. He chose the weakest part of the formation and created a huge gap. Duguqiubai was extremely fast. He rushed into the gap in an instant. Just as those lightning spirits were about to chase after him, Ling Xiao softly uttered a single word. Explode. Boom. Mysterious ancient talismans emerged from the void and intertwined with each other. The mysterious talismans rose and exploded at the same time. It was as if suns had exploded in the void at the same time. The scene was extremely shocking. Even Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai were pushed back by the force of the explosion. They flew for thousands of feet before they finally entered the relic. Those were the hundreds of talismans that Ling Xiao had prepared in advance. Ling Xiao used the talismans to detonate the formation to stop powerful enemies. Now he used it again to stop the thunder spirits. The force of the explosion of hundreds of talismans was nothing. However, they were in Divine Cloud Valley. Moreover, There was a terrifying energy fluctuation hidden in the formation. The explosion was like poking a hornet's nest. It triggered a terrifying lightning power that swept across the sky and formed a terrifying storm, blocking all the thunder spirits outside. Rumble. The blazing lightning was so dazzling that it lit up the sky. Let's go. Ling Xiao called out to Duguqiubai and was about to rush into the formation. After all, the formation had become extremely weak after being devoured by Ling Xiao. If the thunder spirits rushed into the formation, it would be very troublesome. Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai had to get rid of the thunder spirits as soon as possible. Ling Xiao, look. Duguqiubai's eyes suddenly flashed with a hint of surprise. Ling Xiao turned his head and suddenly discovered that a huge gap had been blown up in the broken matrix. However, those thunder spirits were still lingering outside the broken matrix. They were exuding a violent murderous aura. However, it seemed that they were very afraid. They didn't dare to enter the broken matrix. A majestic and ancient palace appeared in front of Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai. It floated in the sky, looking as mysterious and glorious as the heavenly palace. The palace exuded an extremely vast and majestic saintly way aura. It was this saintly way aura that made the lightning spirit extremely fearful, not daring to enter the incomplete formation. That's strange. Those lightning spirits actually don't dare to enter the broken formation. Could it be that they are afraid of the Saint Dao aura here? There was a look of understanding in Ling Xiao's eyes. No matter what, this is a good thing for us. Let's go in and take a look. Duguqiubai nodded. The broken formation seemed to be able to absorb the Saint Dao aura around it. The gap slowly began to close up, blocking all the lightning spirits outside. Let's go. Ling Xiao nodded and flew toward the palace in the sky with Duguqiubai. Divine Firmament Palace. Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai had just landed on the plaza in front of the palace when they saw the three ancient characters. They were like dragons flying and phoenixes dancing. They contained a vast amount of true intent. Upon closer inspection, it looked as if there were three dazzling lightning bolts coming toward them. They contained the origin of the way of lightning. Ling Xiao could feel that the Divine Firmament Palace before him contained a vast amount of saintly way aura. It was ancient and mysterious. It had been there for countless years, yet it was still immortal and eternal. Divine Firmament Palace? Legend has it that the Divine Firmament Palace is an ancient sacred ground. The Divine Firmament destructive lightning method of our War God Hall is said to have originated from the Divine Firmament Palace. This place is also called the Divine Firmament Palace. Could the two be related? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he spoke softly. Divine Firmament Palace and Divine Firmament Valley. Perhaps they are related. After all, legend has it that this is the cave abode of a thunder sage. Let's be careful. There might be some powerful traps inside. Duguqiubai nodded. After all, this was the cave abode of a sage. The sage taught all living beings and controlled the origin of the way. He possessed supreme power. Once he attained the way and became a sage, he would be a big shot in the divine world. He could even break free from the restrictions of the divine world's laws and travel the universe. He was very powerful. The means of the sage were mysterious and unpredictable. Even Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai were very careful. However, Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai found that the gate of the Divine Firmament Palace was open. They did not have to spend any effort and walked in directly. Could it be that someone has already come in? Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat, and he became even more cautious. Both of them restrained their aura to the extreme. They slowly walked into the Divine Firmament Palace like two shadows. The Divine Firmament Palace was very quiet. There were no restrictions or formations at all. Ling Xiao did not feel any danger either. This is strange. Let's look around. Ling Xiao was full of doubts. How could the Divine Firmament Palace be open just like that? It was as if the owner of the Divine Firmament Palace had opened the door to welcome guests. There were no fluctuations of formations. Ling Xiao could feel that the Divine Firmament Palace was shrouded in a layer of extremely powerful Saint Path formation. It was far more powerful than the broken formation outside. But now there was no movement at all. The Divine Firmament Palace was huge. Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai looked around and soon found that there were alchemy rooms, weapon refining rooms, cultivation rooms, formation rooms, and so on. The divine firmament palace was all-encompassing. It was like a sect of an immortal holy land. Let's go check out the alchemy room first. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He and Duguqiubai pushed open the door of the alchemy room. At the center of the alchemy room was an 8-trigram alchemy furnace. There were many purple gold gourds hanging around it. Those purple gold gourds were obviously used to store elixirs. They were powerful treasures, but now they looked dim and had lost their essence. There were even mottled rust marks on them. How many years has it been since someone entered the divine firmament palace? 10 million years? 100 million years? Or an era? Duguqiubai was also very surprised. They opened those purple gold gourds and found that most of the elixirs inside had become useless. Their essence had all been lost. Even powerful elixirs could not withstand the baptism of time. 9 revolving sacred elixir, eternal creation elixir, 9 aperture sacred elixir, dragon blood sacred elixir, heavenly king elixir. What a waste! These elixirs have all become useless. Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai opened those purple gold gourds one by one. They felt their hearts bleeding. So many sacred elixirs were all useless. Many of them were legendary elixirs that had been lost. Ling Xiao, it seems that the divine firmament palace has existed for so long that all the elixirs have become useless. Chapter 1607. That's right. The elixirs have lost their spirituality. I think even the weapons in the refining room are useless. Let's go take a look. Ling Xiao was also very disappointed. However, he suddenly sensed a strange fluctuation and looked at the 8 trigrams elixir furnace in the middle. The 8 trigrams elixir furnace looked dim. It was supposed to be a powerful treasure. However, he was not sure if it was a divine artifact or a holy artifact. The fire in the furnace was completely extinguished. However, Ling Xiao sensed a faint trace of vitality from the 8 trigrams elixir furnace. Brother Dugu, this 8 trigrams elixir furnace is not simple. Let's open it and take a look. Ling Xiao said slowly with a flash of divine light in his eyes. All right, Duguqiubai nodded. He did not sense anything strange. However, the 8 trigrams elixir furnace was the only thing in the refining room that he had not checked yet. Boom. Ling Xiao suddenly grabbed the lid of the alchemy cauldron and tried to lift the lid with his divine power. However, even though Ling Xiao's divine strength surged, he could not feel the elixir furnace moving at all. It was as if there was a terrifying attraction force from within, preventing Ling Xiao from lifting the lid. Something's not right. At this moment, even Duguqiubai noticed that something was wrong. Clang! A dazzling sword radiance burst out. Sword chi rose from Duguqiubai's palm and slashed at the 8 trigrams elixir furnace. His sword radiance was extremely sharp and contained an indestructible force. He wanted to slash the 8 trigrams elixir furnace open. However, when the sword radiance slashed at the 8 trigrams elixir furnace, the sound of metal clashing could be heard. Sparks flew everywhere, and the 8 trigrams elixir furnace did not even leave a mark on it. This 8 trigrams elixir furnace is a treasure. I don't believe that I can't open it. Ling Zhao's eyes lit up, and he instantly became ruthless. Rumble. Purple light rose from his right arm. His meridians were like dragons, exuding a terrifying energy fluctuation. After being refined by the calamity chi, his Qilin arm possessed terrifying strength. Ling Xiao used all his strength to grab the lid of the 8 trigrams elixir furnace. The power of the Qilin arm exploded, and the 8 trigrams furnace finally reacted. The runes around the 8 trigrams cauldron lit up. The radiance was dazzling. In an instant, an endless amount of multicolored light gushed out and illuminated the entire alchemy room. 3 golden pills flew out from the cauldron. They looked like 3 resplendent divine suns. Duguqiubai reacted quickly and caught the 3 golden pills. Boom! Duguqiubai felt his body sinking. His arm was instantly broken, and he almost knelt on the ground. The 3 golden pills smashed onto the ground and made a loud rumbling sound. So heavy, Duguqiubai said with a bitter smile. His eyes were filled with shock. He finally understood why the 8 trigrams furnace was so heavy. It was not because of the 8 trigrams furnace, but because the 3 golden pills were too heavy. They were comparable to tens of thousands of ancient divine mountains. Even Dugachyobai's body could not withstand it. Just as he grabbed the 3 pills, his arm was immediately fractured. What kind of pills are these? Ling Xiao couldn't help but be stunned. The 8 trigrams cauldron had become much lighter. He put down the cauldron and carefully studied the 3 pills. He could feel that the 3 pills were incomparably heavy, but he didn't know what kind of pills they were or what their uses were. Ling Xiao, you keep them first. These 3 pills should not be simple. Let's study them properly after we get out. Dugachyobai glanced at them and then looked away. Although the 3 pills were not ordinary, Dugachyobai was a pure sword cultivator and did not rely on external items. He was not very interested in such pills, so he asked Ling Xiao to keep them. All right. I'll keep them first. Ling Xiao studied them for a long time, but he did not find anything. In the end, he smiled bitterly and kept the 3 pills and the 8 trigrams cauldron into the wordless heavenly book. Come, let's go to the alchemy room. Ling Xiao and Dugachyobai left the alchemy room and headed to the alchemy room. There were dozens of huge shelves in the alchemy room, and each shelf was filled with all kinds of weapons. However, those weapons had lost all their spirituality and had become scrap metal. Divine weapons and half-saint treasures cannot last forever. After tens of millions of years, their power will be exhausted, and they will become scrap metal. Only a flawless holy treasure can survive the vicissitudes of time and last forever. Dugachyobai said slowly. The weapons in the alchemy room were all divine weapons and half-saint treasures. There were no flawless holy treasures, so Ling Xiao and Dugachyobai did not find anything. Next, Ling Xiao and Dugachyobai went to the formation room and martial arts room, but they did not find anything either. Finally, Ling Xiao and Dugachyoubai's eyes fell on the 3 rooms that they had not entered yet. Sword Pavilion, Lightning Pool, Sacred Hall. These were the last 3 rooms. Ling Xiao and Dugachyobai had not entered them yet, but they could feel that the 3 rooms were exuding a vast and mysterious aura. However, Sword Pavilion and Lightning Pool were sealed by a very mysterious restriction. If they barged in recklessly, they might trigger the Divine Firmament Palace's defensive formation. Ling Xiao was hesitating whether he should use the sky-devouring secret skill to break the seals of Sword Pavilion and Lightning Pool. At this moment, an old and calm voice rang in Ling Xiao and Dugachyoubai's ears. My 2 little friends, please come into the sacred hall for a chat. As the voice fell, the door of the sacred hall slowly opened, and a majestic holy path aura was emitted. Ling Xiao and Dugachyobai could not help but be shocked. There was someone in Divine Firmament Palace? Thinking of the open door of Divine Firmament Palace, Ling Xiao and Dugachyobai looked at each other with a solemn look in their eyes. Let's go. Let's go in and have a look. Ling Xiao and Dugachyobai were both decisive people. They only hesitated for a moment before stepping into the sacred hall. They also wanted to see who was the first to enter Divine Firmament Palace. The sacred hall was located in the deepest part of Divine Firmament Palace, as if it was the core of Divine Firmament Palace. It was a huge palace, exuding a faint mist and holy path aura. It was very peaceful. A white-robed old man with white hair and beard sat cross-legged at the head of the holy hall. He looked benevolent and sage-like. His whole body exuded a transcendent and unfathomable aura. His eyes were deep and full of vicissitudes, containing wisdom that could see through the world. Is it just a spiritual body? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He saw that the white-robed elder was just a spiritual body, and did not have a physical body. However, his aura was extremely powerful and unfathomable. He was at least a high-level half-saint. Ling Xiao and Dugachyobai could not help but be on guard. My 2 little friends, don't be so restrained and vigilant. It's your fortune to be able to see me. Chapter 1608. May I know who you are? Why are you in the Divine Firmament Palace? Ling Xiao cupped his fists at the white-robed elder. Ling Xiao was trying to guess the white-robed elder's identity. He could sense that the white-robed elder was extremely powerful, but he had a spirit body. Could he be an artifact spirit? You can call me Old Lei. I am the Divine Firmament Saint's subordinate, and also the artifact spirit of the Divine Firmament Palace. The white-robed elder said slowly. The artifact spirit of the divine firmament palace? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. Could it be that Elder Lei was in existence similar to Uncle Su? Uncle Su was the Great Void Temple's artifact spirit. After all, the divine firmament palace had existed for hundreds of millions of years. Even a sage could not live that long. Only an artifact spirit could survive from ancient times until now. That's right. This divine firmament palace is the cave abode left behind by my master, the divine firmament saint. Although my master has passed away, his legacy needs to be inherited. You are the first humans to enter this place in countless years. You are qualified to obtain the divine firmament saint's legacy. However, a sage's legacy cannot be easily passed down. If you want to obtain the sage's legacy, you have to undergo a test. Old Lei said calmly with a hint of emotion in his eyes. Who is the divine firmament saint? Is he also a human powerful practitioner? Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai looked at each other, then asked Elder Lei. The divine firmament saint is indeed a human powerful practitioner, and someone from the same era as the 9 Thearchs. At the beginning of the New Age, he experienced the Great Celestial Demon War and killed countless demon sages and other races' sages. He was very famous and was a general under the Celestial Thearch. He made great contributions to the human race. However, after that battle, the divine firmament saint was also exhausted. That was why he left behind his cave abode, the divine firmament palace, and many other legacies for the fated ones. Who would have thought that so many years would pass in the blink of an eye? Old Lei sighed. The divine firmament saint is actually a human ancestor? How admirable! Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai were filled with respect. A hint of yearning appeared in their eyes. The Celestial Emperor was the first great emperor of the human race. It was because of the Celestial Emperor's appearance that the human race ended the Dark Age. Under the Celestial Emperor's lead, the human race conquered the heavens and became the Epic Lord. The divine firmament saint was actually the Celestial Thearch's general. Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai were filled with admiration. Since the two of you were able to enter Divine Firmament Palace, it is your opportunity and also your fortune. As long as you pass the Divine Firmament Saint's test, you can obtain the Divine Firmament Saint's legacy. Are you ready? Old Lei said to Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai. We are willing to accept the test, but who is the test? Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai looked at each other and nodded. There are a total of 3 stages. As long as you pass all 3 stages, you will naturally be able to obtain the Divine Firmament Saint's legacy. The first test requires you to go to Divine Cloud Valley and find a piece of Dragon Blood Thunder Yuan Iron and a piece of True Phoenix Stone. As long as you find them and bring them here, you will pass the first test. However, I have to remind you that the Dragon Blood Thunder Yuan Iron and True Phoenix Stone are supreme treasures. They are guarded by powerful lightning spirits or divine beasts. This test will test your battle prowess, wisdom, and skills. I hope you can pass. Old Lei smiled faintly. Dragon Blood Thunder Yuan Iron and True Phoenix Stone? Divine Cloud Valley actually has such supreme treasures? Ling Xiao could not help but be shocked. The Dragon Blood Thunder Iron and True Phoenix Stone could be said to be top-notch treasures of heaven and earth. They could be refined into flawless holy treasures. Moreover, they could be refined into supreme-grade holy treasures. They were extremely precious. Even saints would fight for them. The Dragon Blood Thunder Yuan Iron was refined from the blood essence of the dragon race's sage. It was enhanced by the yang energy of heaven and earth. It was a supreme yang treasure iron. The True Phoenix Stone, on the other hand, was the resting place of the ancient True Phoenix. It was formed by the condensation of the aura of the True Phoenix, and contained the most gentle power of Yin. Ling Xiao had never thought that Divine Cloud Valley would have these 2 treasures. This is the Divine Cloud Jade Pendant. There is a trace of the old master's Sage Path aura on it. As long as you have the Divine Cloud Jade Pendant, the lightning spirits outside will not dare to attack you. Go back quickly. A purple jade pendant appeared in Old Lei's palm. In an instant it flashed and landed in front of Ling Xiao. Divine Cloud Jade Pendant? Thank you, Old Lei. Ling Xiao accepted it. With this Divine Firmament Jade Pendant, even if he encountered those lightning spirits when he went out, he would not be afraid. Ling Xiao indeed felt a trace of incomparably powerful holy Dao power from it. That was a power that even lightning spirits feared. Let's go. Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai left Divine Cloud Palace and headed outside to Divine Cloud Valley. Ling Xiao, do you think that old Lei is really the weapon spirit of Divine Cloud Palace? Duguqiubai asked Ling Xiao telepathically. Oh, big brother Dugu, are you suspecting that old Lei? I'm not sure, but regardless of whether he is the weapon spirit or not, we have to be careful. It's better to be vigilant. Ling Xiao said telepathically. He had a vague feeling that something was not right. However, he did not feel any malicious intent from old Lei. Therefore, Ling Xiao was not sure if old Lei was the weapon spirit of Divine Cloud Palace. Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai decided to search for the Dragon Blood Lightning Metal and True Phoenix Stone together. Crack. Ling Xiao once again used brute force to break the array. The Divine Cloud Jade pendant in his hand emitted a purple light and a mysterious aura that shrouded Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai. There were still many lightning spirits gathering outside the array. However, when they sensed the aura of the Divine Cloud Jade pendant, they immediately retreated as if they were frightened. Is it really working? Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai looked at each other. Only then did they feel relieved and walked out of the array. They then flew into the distance. While Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai were searching for the Dragon Blood Lightning Metal and True Phoenix Stone. In an ancient cave in Divine Cloud Valley, a young man in purple armor with long purple hair and a vigorous and majestic figure opened his eyes. His eyes were deep and bright, like the vast starry sky. No one dared to look at him directly. At that moment, a seed surrounded by chaotic fog was floating in front of him. It was as if it could absorb endless energy from the heavens to nourish his body. It was mysterious and unpredictable. I finally formed the tribulation seed. Now I can try to open that array. Perhaps I can really find the Divine Cloud Saint's legacy inside. The man's eyes were filled with anticipation. Rumble. He stood out of the cave. Purple lightning surged around him, and the fabric of space shook violently. It made him look even more unfathomable. He took a step forward, and ripples appeared in the fabric of space. Then he slowly disappeared into the fabric of space. Chapter 1609. Ling Xiao and Duguqiubai left Divine Cloud Palace to search for the Dragon Blood Thunder Iron and True Phoenix Stone. The Dragon Blood Thunder Iron is an item of extreme yang. It is nurtured in an extreme yang place while the True Phoenix Stone is nurtured in an extreme yin place. Since Elder Lei said that these two treasured metals exist in Divine Cloud Valley, we should be able to find them as long as we find the extreme yang and extreme yin places. Duguqiubai said slowly to Ling Xiao. That's right. Heaven and earth are divided into yin and yang. The lightning is also divided into yin and yang. It's not a coincidence that there are so many lightning bolts gathered in Divine Cloud Valley. It must be the convergence of the yin and yang lightning forces to form the Sea of Lightning. Ling Xiao's eyes glinted with wisdom. When he was in the War God Plane, he had consumed the Heavenly Law Thunder Tribulation Tea from the Emperor. In addition, he had inherited the Thunder Emperor technique. Therefore, Ling Xiao was extremely sensitive to the power of lightning. He was able to sense that while the Sea of Lightning in Divine Cloud Valley seemed chaotic, there was a convergence of yin and yang thunderbolts, forming a mysterious aura. That was why it was able to attract so much power of thunderbolts. Over the years, Divine Cloud Valley was formed. You're right. I can also feel that the extreme yang place should be that mountain peak. As for the extreme yin place, it's hard to say. It's hidden so deeply that I can't sense it. Duguqiubai's eyes glinted as he looked at the tallest mountain peak in Divine Cloud Valley. The mountain peak looked like a divine sword soaring into the sky. It was extremely sharp and exuded a monstrous fluctuation. Endless lightning could be vaguely seen rising and condensing, exuding an extreme yang fluctuation. Brother Dugu is right. That's the extreme yang place. Let's go and take a look. Ling Xiao's eyes glinted as he and Duguqiubai turned into two divine rainbows and flew toward the Divine Sword Mountain Peak. Rumble. The Divine Sword Mountain Peak was tens of thousands of feet tall, and connected heaven and earth. It stood above the 9 heavens, as if it was the intersection of heaven and earth. The lightning here was extremely terrifying and contained a powerful destructive fluctuation. Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai looked serious. The void here was distorted and there were even cracks in the void. Even a half-saint expert would die here. The divine firmament jade pendant that Elder Lei had given them was very special. Not only could it scare away the lightning spirit, but it could also isolate their aura and prevent the lightning from attacking them. However, Ling Xiao's heaven-shrouding ancient talisman could do the same. Hence, he did not care about the divine firmament jade pendant. The two of them landed on the Sword God Mountain and began to search the surroundings. However, they still found nothing after searching the entire Sword God Mountain. Let me try. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. Since the Dragon Blood Thunder Yuan Iron was condensed from the blood essence of the Dragon Saint, he should be able to sense the whereabouts of the Dragon Blood Thunder Yuan Iron by activating the dragon bloodline in his body. Roar! A dragon's roar rang out from within Ling Xiao's body. In an instant, the void trembled and the lightning seemed to become even more intense. Ling Xiao could faintly feel the faint fluctuations of lightning coming from the top of the Divine Sword Mountain. Over there. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as his gaze landed on a black rock at the top of the Divine Sword Mountain. The rock looked very ordinary. Even though it was extremely sturdy after being struck by countless lightning bolts, Ling Xiao and Dugu Qiubai had overlooked it. It's this energy again. How can it be ignored by others? This should be something that can only be done when one's heart force is extremely strong. Ling Xiao's eyes trembled slightly. He recalled the energy contained in the 2 plaques of the Creator Ghostly Lord in the underground palace. It was very similar to the fluctuations of this black rock. If Ling Xiao had not activated the dragon bloodline in his body, and sensed the fluctuations of this rock, he would not have noticed it. Ling Xiao cultivated the Great Void Charm scripture, and knew that he might be able to do this if he had cultivated it to the 6th level of the Great Void Charm scripture, the prominent divine realm. However, he was still very far away from the prominent divine realm. Ling Xiao, are you saying that this is the Dragon Blood Thunder Yuan Iron? It shouldn't be. This black rock is very ordinary. Dugu Qiubai was also slightly confused. He also knew about the Dragon Blood Thunder Yuan Iron. The Dragon Blood Thunder Yuan Iron was a kind of supreme treasure iron. It was dazzling and had a strong dragon aura. It was completely different from this black rock. Let me give it a try and see if I can break this black rock. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. Suddenly, divine energy rose from his body. His right arm exuded a monstrous purple aura. The unparalleled divine energy turned into a fist and punched the black rock violently. Whoa! The void trembled slightly. Ling Xiao's fist went through the black rock, as if it had punched into the void. The lightning in the distance became more intense and chaotic. There's a space formation? This black rock is just a disguise. Dugu Qiubai also noticed that something was wrong. Ling Xiao and the black rock did not seem to exist in the same time and space. His punch was like fishing for the moon in the water. He did not even touch the black rock. What a powerful space formation. I'm afraid it was left behind by a sage. If this is really the Dragon Blood Thunder Yuan Iron, I'm afraid it's not simple. Ling Xiao's gaze also turned slightly serious. Let me give it a try. Dugu Qiubai's eyes flashed. Sword essence rose around him, and exuded a fluctuation that could destroy everything. All right. Ling Xiao nodded. Dugu Qiubai's Destruction Sword Principle and Life Sword Principle were very unique. Perhaps they could really break this space formation. Although Ling Xiao could also use the Sky-Devouring Secret skill to devour the power of the formation. This space formation was obviously much more powerful than an incomplete formation. Even if he could devour it, he did not know how long it would take. Wang. The sword light around Dugu Qiubai was blazing. An ancient sword appeared in his hand. Then he stabbed the sword at the black rock in front of him. However, Ling Xiao could feel that there were 2 opposing forces in Dugu Qiubai's body. Yet they were perfect and terrifying. Light and darkness, life and death, extreme yang and extreme yin. All of these forces were gathered in the sword. Dugu Qiubai's face turned pale at a speed visible to the naked eye. Using this move was extremely taxing and stressful for him. Crack. However, Ling Xiao could clearly see that the void in front of him trembled violently. In the next moment, Duguqiubai's sword pierced through the void. The sword light was extremely sharp. It did not lose its momentum and stabbed into the black rock. Boom! The black stone was like a small sun, directly gushing out. Endless divine light bloomed, dazzling, and accompanied by a powerful dragon roar, swept away the surrounding thunder. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.